tarps off at the club?
At Laval, absolutely, on the rooftop.
That's interesting. Oh, because it is a pool.
Yeah,
there's a pool. Yeah, what am I saying? There's a pool there, yeah.
No shirt.
Fair.
Even though obviously everybody's done.
Okay, guys. We're having a great time. Shout out to Sig Sire. Wasaga apparently is a douche town. Well, my sister used to live in Wasaga Beach. I'm sure she thinks the same as you, idiot. Anyway, so we're done here, and we're sending you to the big boys that way. Obi and Neil, I'll see everybody at the green screen in a minute.
Whoa.
Don't talk bad about Wasaga.
What's going on?
All right? We've just learned a few things. One, apparently tarps off for Joe.
Yeah.
And I guess I don't know if you're going.
I mean, it's one of the rooftops that does have a pool, which is cool.
Don't talk trash about Wasaga.
Yeah.
Okay, where were we here? So apparently negotiations are off with Canada. That stinks. That's not good at all. Things that were strong are now weak, and that's just how it is. The craziest reaction, all right, I'm just gonna get right into, let's just get right into it, because we're at VWAP on like one of the strong names. Nike's held up
pretty well.
Pretty well off of VWAP, which kind of made me like it as well. I wish I had as good a price as Obi. Position board not going to be there. I have some BBAI, which is trying to hold the volume weighted average price, but it was like everything was chilling, man. We were stone cold chilling. It's like, okay, let's go. We're bouncing off VWAP to the highs. This is going to break. We're just holding. Next thing I know, I'm reloading on the bid, and everything goes, it gets to the downside. I wish I had some shorts on. We'll find something if we continue trend down the way we are. But yeah, and look, the other thing that's going on right here is Circle. I know Dara's in the short and Circle. My goodness. Now that's a short.
Oh, yeah.
Circle, 16% down. 16% to the downside. So as strong as Nike is, / was, that's how weak Circle is. It's one of those days, Obi. And we'll see if the market can rebound off after this negative, I suppose, trade talk. I mean, Canada, you might say it doesn't matter, but ultimately it's like the theme, right? Like if deals aren't getting done, it's just a risk off, I think. A lot of things are dropping on this. Chips were going down. Does that even make any sense? But it's happening, everybody. So welcome. Got a couple of hours till the end of the week here. And the market, as usual, finding itself in a bit of a reversal.
Yeah, I mean, the market, I guess, it didn't take it too well that trade talks will be halted, and with that tweet. Regardless, we're kind of stalled in holding that 613 from the morning. And I'm like, all right, well, something that we were talking about today and yesterday and over the past week or so amongst a lot of traders is just like, okay, well, a lot of these dips keep on getting bought up. Right, and if we can see a bid show up, what's the likelihood of us kind of retracing? I have no idea, but again, it's showing us that we could potentially maybe have something here. 613 was a place in the morning where the bid did show up. Let's see if it shows up once again for a bit of reversion of the reversion. Maybe I have no idea, but the thing is, we're choppy in a range. This is what I keep saying. It's like, all right, we're doing a lot of stuff, but we're not really getting anywhere too far. That's the thing here. So we can take a look at the spider, taking a look at a higher time frame. Just go up to 3 hour. We'll make this a larger screen as well, right here. So we are continuing to push higher, right? So it's like, what I mean is like we're still holding range within trend. Like, yeah, aggressive selling, but you can see, if you throw up, I guess, a moving average or anything of the sort to define trend, we're well within trend on a shorter frame. That's been over the past couple of days where we broke out of this 600 and some change level right here, 605s. But you can see even then, we've been bidding up pretty aggressively since those April lows, higher highs, higher lows, and a little bit of a grind back to the upside for some fresh highs. So yeah, some strong selling coming in on the day, some aggressive moves last week and this week as well, maybe off of some geopolitical uncertainties, what have you. Regardless of whatever has come into the market, the market has just bought it right back up, and I think that is something that we probably need to keep in mind. But let's see, maybe today's a little different. Who knows? Regardless, the levels are definitely defined, and that 613 is once again showing up as a little bit of a level. But let's see, on our way down with that aggressive volume, I want to see if we take out day low. I want to see if we can get back into some of these prior day, end of day consolidation levels if we do break that day low. But if we catch a bid, I think we've got an idea of where those sellers kind of stepped in. So a lot of places to get involved with. But as of right now, in a little bit of Nike. But other than that, nothing too crazy.
I guess when you take a fill, it'll show up.
Yeah, I guess when I take a fill, it'll show up. But right now, me checking out what you guys picked with the rundown.
I wonder.
Welcome, everyone, to the Afternoon Rundown, the show where you decide what we talk about every afternoon. Obi, you guys saw him. He's in for Sean. The boys, they're locked, they're loaded. They're ready to look at the tickers as decided by you. But the only way to get those tickers up there is to join Joseph and I on the midday show and get into the chat and vote for your favorite tickers every day. It's super simple. Throw that $ on there, and then your 3, 4, or 5-letter ticker. It'll automatically register and populate on my phone. Shout out to Fabian for that great app. All right. Let's have a look at the 4 major averages. They're all in green territory with the NQ up 1/3%, but coming off the highs. As Donald Trump tweeted not that long ago, the Russell 2000 also up about about 1/4% right now. Likewise, with the ES up about 0.4%, with the best performing major average on the day. This hasn't been said for a while. Up 0.85 is the Dow. It's been kind of lagging lately as compared to the other 3 major averages. Here's the first ticker as decided by you, Tesla. Another negative day, not as bad as yesterday and the day prior, but this one's still down 0.8. Couple of headlines on this one today. Xiaomi, a Chinese electric vehicle company, obviously, releasing the YU7, which received, guys, about 300,000 pre-orders in a matter of minutes or in an hour here in China. That competes directly with the Model Y in China. Second, we have the departure of Omid Afshar, unceremoniously fired yesterday by Elon Musk. This individual had been actually under investigation by a government department for Elon's pet project. You'll recall this, the glass house. Apparently, he had been ordering the materials there. He left to go to SpaceX, but was brought back after the Trump administration came into power. He was dismissed yesterday, according to reports, guys, by Elon Musk.
So I like the next 2 names on the list better than I like Tesla. Because I got a little chopped up at 25 on Tesla. Like I took a long, I reversed into a, I go in and out flat. I had a short with a tight stop and a long with a tight stop. And like neither one worked. And then the short eventually was the way, obviously with the market doing what it's doing now, the short was the way to go. But overall, it just seems like another day. And you can't really count. I know this doesn't count for an inside day, going back to Wednesday. But if we look at when things calmed down, we essentially we bounced, couldn't break 330, and we're still not breaking 320. And oh, by the way, that's a real wick. So 320 bottom, 330 top, very much inside for Tesla to round out the week. I would have liked it a little bit better. I like the fact that we were holding this level in front of the 50 and the 200 period, but it would be much better had we actually bounced to end the week off of this level. And losing 320 would be pretty bearish going into next week, though you do have the 50 and the 200 period moving averages sitting right there for you. Yeah, this afternoon, I feel like as long as we're underneath 325, I'd be bearish on Tesla, but I don't know that's the name I want to trade today. And we're going to get to NVIDIA in a second, but that's showing some good signs of strength if the market can rebound. We're in Nike, and BBAI has been doing pretty okay off the volume-weighted average price. So I don't know that I'll be trading Tesla, but I think it doesn't bode well for us that we're not bouncing off what has been good trend support today. So maybe it's the story, maybe it's the market, maybe it's trade, although cutting off talks with Canada doesn't really matter to Tesla. It seems like everything's kind of catching some strays on this move.
Yeah, I think I like where the day low came in on Tesla. This is just a 3-minute chart that's kind of like squished in. We got here the 12th. Starting off this left side of the chart, but you can see every time it kind of comes into this 310, 315 level, maybe a little bit of a bounce, a little bit of a support, and then look at this strong flush coming in on Wednesday, holding that 320, holding that 320. So just locked within this range as of right now on Tesla. Not really getting that aggressive kind of movement that we've been seeing. I guess for a decent chunk of the beginning of the week, you can see strong legs to the upside and to the downside. For the past couple of days, that's today and yesterday, pretty much of a sideways action between this, 330 and 320. So about a 10-point range here on Tesla. So yeah, nothing too crazy going on here, even with some of that news coming out about the Xiaomi and what 300,000 orders. That's absolutely wild. But again, Tesla kind of showing us that it's going to probably do its own thing. Again, I do think there's bigger picture kind of action going on here. So no idea.
All right, guys, Palantir next on the list here, and what a move it was to the downside today for PLTR. There's really no catalyst to speak of today. We had heard yesterday, a positive catalyst, that they were teaming up with the nuclear company to basically create AI software for the construction of nuclear power plants as a result of Donald Trump's executive order to speed up the construction of said plants. Today, guys, maybe some profit taking down 3.5.
Yeah, that's what I think it is. And look, this morning we left you with Let's wait for 136 on Palantir. Zoom it out. I think you'll be able to show another reason you could have been waiting for this level as well. Yeah. But this is what we wanted to grab, was able to get it. I mean, I don't say I fumbled it, but I said this in the middle of the day, right when I ended the lesson of the day, that I was like, okay, we'll take a tranche out, and then it holds again at the prior low. And I was like, okay, well, we should be holding this to the volume weighted average price, but let's put a trail on it. And then it promptly runs and then trails me out. So I basically got the buck and change on this one overall, but it should have been all the way into 139. Look at this hold VWAP. Suddenly very good, right? Like the market, for Palantir to be relief rallying and hopefully I don't jinx it in this exact moment and it loses VWAP and flushes to the low. But for us to have broken down the way we have, if it's going to be able to hold 139, that's a good sign. But I say that, and we are looking like we're heading down. I'm not going to be a buyer in here. I'll tell you why. What's the point? If Palantir breaks down from here, BBAI probably breaks down from here. And this has been holding the volume weighted average price. This is the one I'm actually trading off VWAP. Did get in and out, kind of took out half when it lost VWAP here, and then just got it back in on the failed break of the low. I love that. I love the failed break of the prior low, and then just jumped right back into it. But as the market heads down, you got to be careful. So I would consider trading Palantir off of that VWAP support if I wasn't already in a somewhat similar name, that if one's going down, they're probably both going down. A reversal makes some sense here, but we're not at that point just yet. The Jameson saying no. What's that for? Jameson B. Why no?
Oh, for the probably for the BBI. I don't know. Maybe they have a certain bias on that. But yeah, Palantir, absolutely crazy. I think yesterday kind of gave us a strong signal to get maybe strong signal to sell. But regardless, I know I was definitely involved on Wednesday here when we first tested this 147 level. I really liked the short here, and I was involved for a decent chunk of this. I didn't really hold it down to these lows, but I think I took something back into a little bit of VWAP and maybe some opening range lows there as well. But take a look at this. Next day, it gives it to you once again, and it false breaks this aggressive high into that 147 right off of the open, maybe first 30-minute range, absolutely gives it up. And look at this beautiful continuation. Strong reason, false break on the daily, and then next day you come in with those sellers stepping right back in, giving us a little bit of a trend break. And yeah, that 136, definitely interesting as it is. Prior low, prior low, prior low as well, and Neil was talking about maybe potentially another reason. And you guys know I like my anchored VWAPs. Shout out to Mr. Brian Shannon out there, and take a look at this. This anchored VWAP that comes in with this catalyst that came in intraday with an aggressive selling comes in right to that 136. That's sitting at 136.22 as of right now. So that's the first place where we actually catch somewhat of a bid. Maybe our first stop on the way down. Again, I think the selling a little bit more aggressive than this. This is a bit of an anchored VWAP. But again, I think it was a place to look and a place where maybe something was found But Palantir, absolutely clean flush off of the open there. That false break of prior day, I really like that as well. I definitely have to be involved. But I saw that much later in the day, and I was like, all right, the trade is done. But guess what? I guess it was such a great reason that there was follow through the next day. So it is what it is. Palantir off of the open, if you had it, was absolutely beautiful. Maybe the bounce was there as well, but I didn't really touch it. Other than that, don't really see anything much else either.
Another beautiful one, Obi, is NVIDIA, and has been beautiful for a while now. Another 1.25%, a little bit off the highs for NVIDIA. No major catalyst for this one, but there was this headline that Adira brought us midday. A company that's just down the road from us, guys, CentML, being here acquired by NVIDIA, an AI startup.
They may be down the street from us, but it's the first I've ever heard of them. I mean, let's be real. Like, I know the rest of us feel the same way.
With the CYN?
Good for them. Yeah. Look, NVIDIA, here's the good thing about a trend to the upside is you can, if you get stopped out or if you lose your way, you should be able to work your way back into it if it's going to trend up. NVIDIA was a good example of that. The open trade worked perfectly, sort of buying into the pre-market lows. It had some trouble. I got in after it broke 157 down and bought the dip. It ended up rolling over, tried it again at the pre-market low, and then didn't get back in until we're back above the key price 157, which is what I worked back on. This is what we worked over, this level. And I did get stopped out, but just jumped back in, add to it on a break. I kind of added to it with a trail when it broke out the 158 and then took pretty much everything out into that move. You're a little more aggressive because you're long down here, you're adding here, a little more aggressive out, which is I'm more aggressive than I would usually be because I'm adding near the highs. And when it bounced off VWAP, I got back in. The last VWAP loses. I think it's relatively strong today, being up 1.3%, and the market's barely up. But I'd like to see it maybe break this trend, hold VWAP, break this little downtrend. I don't need to connect from here. I could have just connected these. And then that's where I think the long can be, again, on NVIDIA. The daily chart's just, fresh highs, another all-time high for them. So this is really the continuation play and more than anything else. And as long as it wants to continue to get bought up, I think it's a good sign. I will say this, when we're talking, just because this is the only chance we'll probably have to talk about it, as Circle's going down, you're going to notice that CoreWeave, CRWV, people are like, well, why wouldn't CoreWeave be going down? Okay? Well, I think CoreWeave's up 3% because NVIDIA is having itself a day. And some of the chip strength is probably going to give CoreWeave a little bit more cover. But I think the first sign of weakness that you get in the chips and NVIDIA, that may be the time to take a shot at CoreWeave. But yeah, NVIDIA, I'm going to be looking for buys, but I'm not there just yet this afternoon.
Yeah, I think I definitely agree with you there. Bigger picture stuff going on NVIDIA. Every day it's been making a little bit of fresh high since we did break out there. It was Wednesday, right? Wednesday we broke out of those all-time highs, 153s and some change, pushing into some of those levels going into the end of the day. And we get a little bit more continuation going into the end of the week here with a fresh all-time high at 158.71. This was an aggressive bid, again, coming in off of the morning lows there, breaking through that opening range high, and the bid coming in so strong that a little bit of a pullback back into opening range highs gives us another leg to the upside. But coming back in, we're kind of holding some of those levels from the morning session and prior day as well, if you want to call it, right there. You can see that end of day high coming in as of right now is a little bit of a support at that 156 halves. But let's see where we get with NVIDIA. Again, looking at a higher time frame, let's take a quick look at the weekly here and see how that's ending off as well, coming into the end of the week. So pretty aggressive push from the beginning of the week going into the end of the week. Prior level coming in here at that 153. What was that again? 153.11s was that intraday all-time high there on NVIDIA. So 156s, we're trading pretty strong, but oh boy, the spiders
market's really
as of right now as well. So
before we jump back over, like I got to tell you, the market just took another strong leg down. So I'm now out of the buy back into BBAI. Again, the trend is just way too strong to the downside. Tried to pick it back up. It was much better. Obviously, when the market was stronger, it's going to be much better on the way up. I'm not going to fight this anymore. Nike's somewhat holding on, but my stop's like 10 cents under here as well, and I don't want to be fighting it. I'm not looking to flip just yet. because we've seen this whole, people call it the taco trade, buy on bad news or you buy the dip. I'm not really feeling that we should be falling apart on this, but I am going to still get out of the longs and preserve the capital that we made this morning. Let's talk about some HIMS. Just another super strong name that what a reversal it was. Holding up okay, but wow.
Yeah, a nice bounce back here, Neil, 6 1/3. But as you can see on that chart there, we're coming from a lot higher. And this was a result of Novo Nordisk basically telling HIMS they are cutting them off from one of their weight loss drugs. So Novo will have to push other ones, specifically Wegovy. And that obviously affects their business model, guys, because they charge you about $599 US a month to access to this drug, as well as other telehealth options.
Yeah, look, this was, I'd say, the strongest stock this morning. I mean, Nike had a good morning off the open as well, but no question HIMS was the strongest stock. And as we were saying yesterday, you know, sometimes when you give it that 3-day rule, you catch, if you had bought the first day off the lows, it's the same result. So fair enough. Like, it makes the low, and if you buy that first day, it never really cracks underneath, and you just get the gains, which is fair. It's not the way that I like to approach it. But what was different about yesterday is it retested the low on Wednesday, and then yesterday retested again at the open and then ran. That's where, to me, you get bullish on the stock. So I'm actually not happy with my, well, whatever. NVIDIA was fine today. It's just that HIMS was better. Like, HIMS on that setup for the continuation to fill the gap was actually better. It was better to be long HIMS than it was NVIDIA. But you do what you're used to and most comfortable with a lot of times. It can be a bad thing. It can be a good thing as well. It's a classic setup. I'm not sure that it's done trying to fill this gap. I thought there was room to 55, but the market just decided to take a tank, and I'm not sure it's going to have so much strength in this, in HIMS. Some of it, some of this, the factor that makes me not as bullish as you could be is we were in the 30s when the partnership got this squeezing up into the 60s. And we didn't really even retest that. So a close, if we don't really close on strength, it's a nice relief rally off the low, but then it's rejecting the prior support. So I think it's a good, nice relief rally for today and the last couple of days off that bottom after the 3-day rule, but I'm not completely convinced that you want to be buying it up here for the push into 65. That doesn't seem like a safe thing to do.
All right, so guys, VinFast, VFS, is back in the spotlight. Cantor Fitzgerald just reaffirmed their overweight rating with a $6 target. And Chardon Capital is holding their buy rating at $5.50. On the money side, Tidal Investments increased their stake by 11% with new positions from Mitsubishi, UFJ, SBI Securities, and Jump Financial. In Q1, VinFast doubled down on its goal to boost deliveries this year and hit break-even by 2026. They're scaling up in Asia and investing in new EV platforms to cut costs and improve performance. With strong backing from Vingroup and a global strategy, VinFast is shaping up as one to watch. Thank you very much. But yeah, no, HIMS definitely was not on my list today. And I think, again, Neil was talking about this one earlier this morning and was like, all right, did you see the push on HIMS yesterday? And I was like, yeah, didn't really have it on watch, but off the open, oh boy, what a reversion that we're having of that day one flush. I was definitely involved here on Monday with that HIMS trade. I think I took a little bit of a cheeky bounce on back into that 48 level, which was pretty nice. But again, bigger picture was the short, and I was kind of stuck getting busy with the counter there. But you can see the bigger picture counter is coming in apparently as we start to revert a decent chunk back. 52s now, oh boy. So we couldn't necessarily break down that day one low that happened, I guess, going right into the close. 40.65s, it would seem. Yeah, 40.65s is that low from that day one on Monday, but coming back in with a little bit of a bid into the end of the week here on HIMS. So going back to the weekly, let's take a quick look on what that would end up looking like. Let's take that. I guess VWAP's not there. But yeah, closing green on the week, back through open. So getting bought up a decent chunk of what we dropped down, but still trading much below some of those consolidation lows from earlier. Let's see how this ticker kind of carries forward. This was the first week with that aggressive selling with that catalyst, but pretty strong close, to say the least.
All right, guys, there's really nothing on this. This is WFF. You guys probably saw me trade this midday if you were watching, and I didn't really put this on to gloat or anything like that, but I just wanted to show that this one is around for a good time, not a long time, guys. So a bit of a Christmas tree retracement to the downside at an inverted V. Can you shed some light, boys, on how you would be looking at this, or any methods you can give to the audience about how to mitigate risks with something like this?
Yeah, trailing stop, use trailing stops when you're long. Like, have stop orders. I think, look, for every single time that you get out of one of these at 25 when you're long at 10 and it goes to 50, who cares? It's more than a double up. You just don't want to get rinsed like this on anything. I don't care what the strategy is. Like, it's silly. That said, I'm not going to talk about like a trend line when something's halting all over the place, but if you see it halting, like, how many times do we halt up here? 1, 2, 3, 4, okay, 5 up halts. And then what happens? Here's where it gets very obvious. If you're ever watching this when it's halted to the upside, the reason we talk about the theoretical auction price, like the tap, it gives you an indication what's going to happen next. Like, it halts, goes higher. Halts, this one's lower, so it could have shaken people out. This one's higher, then parabolic higher halt, and then halt. This is the biggest parabolic move and halting up. When you see that it's indicating opening lower, if you're long, how you are not like getting out, or at least having a stop under like 24 or 23 is beyond me. Or you're just like, I'll go like I'll just mark it out of half of it on the open and just take that price when it's indicating that far to the downside. The other thing you can think about is, as it goes into the halt down here, if you haven't gotten out, you can do the same thing in the next reopen. You could just simply say, okay, I'm gonna mark it out underneath and don't let it punk me at that point. There's really not much else you can do. Would I have shorted it? No, I wouldn't have shorted it. Even though it looks like those are great short entries, I probably would have been sitting that one out. And at the end of the day, it's just going to give you headaches if you get way too cut. If you just hold these all the way back, or if you try to force trades in these, it's just going to give you a big headache. So I think you got to pick your spots. If you get it early, great. Make sure you have a good exit plan. But that analysis, this segment of the rundown, brought to you by OGen. Great company, great cause. Because each year, 3.8 million concussions are reported in the US, and yet there is still no FDA-approved treatment. NYSE-listed Oragenics, OGEN, is changing that with its first-in-class intranasal drug designed for rapid brain access. With the concussion treatment market projected to reach $8.9 billion by 2027, Oragenics is uniquely positioned to lead the way. Learn more and schedule a meeting today. Scan the QR code you see in front of you. As I said, I think it's an important topic. Before I throw it to you on WEF, it's not even WEF, it's WFF. The last of the longs for me, which was Nike, just lost support. I'm out. It bounced 72, gave you a little bit, and then it just broke underneath support. So I don't want to be fighting anything. We can always get back in if it reclaims VWAP for myself. The only thing I'm left in is a penny stock. Well, I might as well mention it now, and then at 350, maybe I'll mention it again at the close. So anybody that doesn't know, Wolf, which Wolf are they? This one is Wolf's. This is Wolf Speed. Wolf Speed is getting delisted. Wolf Speed is going bankrupt. So I don't know. I just shorted the pop. Nice. And if it comes out a big sell imbalance, I'm going to short some more. If it comes out a buy imbalance, I'm going to get out. But the idea is I just want to be short this thing into the close, as it's supposed to be a big delete today. And I'm going to go, and when it gets closer, I'll show you guys the early look imbalance. It's a New York stock. If I see it show up here for a big sell, I'm going to add to the position. If I don't, then I don't add to the position. I'm keeping it really simple with this because it's going under and getting deleted.
Whoa. There's a little bit of a market flush there. But yeah, no, WFF. No, I was thinking, when I first saw this ticker, I was just like, what the flying fugazi on this one. And I was just like, all right, well, this is definitely a no trade for me. We were kind of talking about a potential short opportunity, but on day ones like this, would I ever get short? Absolutely not. I don't think so. Not part of my playbook. And definitely not something that I like doing, I'd say. But again, if you had it, you had it. The trade, I guess.
The mother of all mean reversions.
I understand. It's the trade. It's pretty on a chart. Doesn't mean I'm gonna take it, right? It's like, sure, retrospect, it does look very nice, and it gave back all of the moves. So if you did get involved, good on you. Maybe you saw something that was different on this one, and it made it playbook for you guys. Sure, go for it. I think that's definitely well within range and abilities of certain players out there, but definitely not part of my playbook that I have learned. But yeah, no trade for me. Maybe, yeah, if you had the long, I think that's a little bit better as well. But again, being again only 8 million shares float, it's done about 20 million volume on the day, and kind of looking back at it, it is a little bit of a liquidity trap. We kind of talk about these liquidity traps. You have day one, day two, with some decent volume here, and then day three, day four. See you, Sharif. Have a good weekend. So yeah, day three, day four, low volume, failure to follow through on the breakdown, can't even get back below some of these day one, day two levels, and you get that increasing volume and then maybe a potential squeeze. So maybe this was the day you were looking for that parabolic short. I have no idea. But again, looks very pretty. Looking at the backside here and the front side as well, but definitely not one in my book. So that's WFF for me. And the spider, oh boy, that thing is falling off of the spout right here as of right now. Got stopped out of the Nike as well, and oh boy, I was actually thinking of doing something in and around here. I'm glad I didn't really get involved as aggressively or at all, as we are pushing some fresh lows on the day and bringing us back into some of those prior ranges as well. So, oh boy, excuse me, aggressive selling coming in, Neil. When will it stop? Who knows? But I'm waiting and watching for that potential reversion, Neil. So we'll see.
Well, maybe it happens. I'm not sure, but I do know that Tesla's back at $320. It's not like we haven't been here before. We bounced in the morning. We bounced on the Wednesday lows at 320. If we bounce here after breaking, then I'll have lost on a trade. Why? Because I'm going to take the break. It's going to be, I usually go really tight stop. Like if it comes back and retakes the $0.50, I'm out. I want to keep it very, very simple. Like I don't want this, if it makes a wick bottom from here, like it's run $5, more than that. It ran $6 here. It ran $9 here. So if the market bounces and this bounced off 320, if you just let it go on the short, it could go like a million, it could go really far against you. Anyways, we're going to have a very tight stop on the break on Tesla. That's what I'm looking at right now. Outside of just hanging on to like Wolf, as I explained, I'll just be in that forever. And there was a really good question. Someone said, how is it that companies like Mullen can just keep on reverse splitting and go down to zero over and over again, but other companies eventually have to get delisted? Well, Wolf's going bankrupt. Mullen doesn't go bankrupt because for some reason they're allowed to keep reverse splitting. I don't know why, but the fact that they're able to do that and continuously dilute and find people to actually want the shares, as long as they can, trick's the wrong word, but as long as that can happen, then they can continue to survive because they keep raising cash. Not everyone's able to pull that off. I don't know what makes Mullen so special that allows them to pull it off, but they just do. So you just kind of leave it at that. At the end of the day. So Wolf is, like, they are getting delisted. Mullen lives to fight to another squeeze, apparently. Because is there a better trade? And is there actually a better trade, short, in the universe than just let Mullen reverse split and short it? There actually, you go back and look at the last 5 years, there probably isn't a better. Hedge funds are so rich doing that, and yet somehow there's buyers of it. It doesn't make sense to me, but it doesn't have to make sense. So Tesla, I'm going to take this break. Assuming that it actually breaks, of course, I'm going to take the 320 break on Tesla with a $0.50 stop and see what it does. Let's go to Adara at the desk.
This isn't news, but I was actually curious about the reverse split rule. So I looked this up. Basically, of course, the rule in terms of compliance is a company must maintain its stock at $1 minimum share price for 30 consecutive days. If that is not the case, then they have 6 months to get their house in order, as it were. Now, how do reverse splits come into this? Well, this is obviously recognized by the indices as a way to get out of the situation. So basically what happens is they do have some rules. This is at least for the NYSE. They will immediately begin suspension and delisting procedures if a company has done a reverse split within the past year and they're, I guess, no longer eligible for that 6-month cure. And also, or if they have effectuated one or more reverse stock splits over the past 2 years with a cumulative ratio of 200 shares or more to 1. In those cases, they're going to start the delisting process. That's at least for the NYSE. The Nasdaq is a little bit different. Their period is, again, about 6 months, 180 days. But under they've changed the rules a little bit as well. So under the previous rules, you'd have to appeal to basically stay in suspension or delisting action. Nasdaq also apparently restricts the use of reverse stock splits as well. So basically, long story short, they both do allegedly have rules to restrict these splits. It's unclear if they're being used in these situations, but just a little bit of context, I guess. Back to you.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Adara. That's the thing. Like it's always good to brush up on it, but ultimately, rules are the rules. If they can, they can. We just leave it at that.
You know what rules we got to look into? Those halt rules.
Oh, that's
I'm sure I've read them a few times, and I'm just like, I'm pretty sure these are not being followed.
Oh,
like
yeah.
We've caught stocks
There's way too
not
many
necessarily, or maybe I just don't know how to read. I don't know how to read them. I don't know, but yeah, there is some stuff going on with some of those halt rules, which can get pretty.
They've confounded me many a time.
Oh yeah,
you know that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking at the stock. It's like, are you kidding me?
Yeah. And Neil's been in the stock market since a long time. Since Joe's like since its inauguration. Like when was that? 70, 60? I don't know. Neil was around when there was a tulip market.
I'm not even that old, man. I'm not even that old. I'm old enough
Neil's
to
been in the game for a while, is what I'm trying to say.
Oh, man, I'm old enough to remember when NVIDIA was a strong stock.
That was this morning.
Why didn't I get, whoa, okay, that's weird. I did not, Tesla broke, and I did not get filled. What the heck happened? All right, not entirely sure. I did not get the fill on Tesla through 320. All right, so I did take this bottoming tail candle, break the prior bar on NVIDIA, stop under here, and I leave Tesla in to get picked up. Anyway, so I don't know why I didn't get filled, but I just kind of took it at a bad price on the way back in. Same stop as before. I don't know why I was not filled on the breakdown. I thought I crossed it enough. Obviously, I did not, and I end up with a 75 price. I bet you I could have got something in the 80s on Tesla as it continues to go a little bit lower. Remember, it has snapped back prior breaks before. I like the scalp trade. Like when it broke 325 yesterday, it snapped back heavily, right? And it did it again. So I'm anticipating like these bottom tail breaks on Tesla. Make sure you scalp something out and then try to play with a little house money. That's what I'm going for. But if we break back higher, I'm going to exit stage left. It's already holding 319 pretty decently. So I might even tighten it up a little more and not even give it to the 50 above because of what's been happening. But the Nasdaq's headed lower. This NVIDIA is probably going to be trouble. Yeah, it's coming right in. I got the entry that I wanted on NVIDIA.
Oh, what's up?
But it's about to break that prior bar.
Dude, there you are.
Oh, come.
Look, Sean's there as well.
What the?
Yeah, look at that.
Oh, that is some weird. That looks very weird.
Yeah, it's
I feel like that was a still before. Now there's movement in it, which is creeping me out. So there it goes. Well, so I'll slap the fail on NVIDIA, trying to buy the little bit of a bounce. Tesla probably should have been the one, and I should have got a much better price on Tesla. Where's my 19 fill? I want another fill at 19, and then we can try to let it ride. There we go. Just got the other fill at 19. Give some back on NVIDIA. Thankfully, it was so good this morning. It's not that bad, but Tesla headed lower as we speak. Market headed lower. If we get down to, where is this on the 317.5? Target 317.5 for myself. On Tesla, still expecting, I thought we'd catch one of those taco bids, but I'm still thinking that can be the case. Remember, it's options expiration as well. It's a Friday. Yes. I would suspect there will be a bid somewhere.
Yeah, it's something definitely got to watch out for. Again, it got an aggressive sell there, and through the day lows. We kind of were talking about that. We're getting that continuation now. I did try a little bit of a long here on the SPY. I got that wick kind of in my way right now, so we'll take that one out. What is that? 611. So let's see. We can probably see that a little bit better now. Yeah, so it got taken out on that little bit of a push back down, but yeah, no. Let's see when and if this bid will potentially show up. But like you said, options expiry, and again, we've been coming in pretty strong on this week as well, going into pretty much the end of the month as well. So a little bit of selling coming in across the board. Bless you. Softy back down to its lows there. Apple not quite there just yet. Alphabet, wow, Alphabet's holding its own pretty well. Oh boy, that's aggressive selling. I'm just watching this tape here on the SPY, and I guess here, this is still on the circle. I can pull up SPY, and that'll be on the MX. Boom, there we go. Right there. So that's the book right there. So that's exactly what it looks like. That's what the tape looked like, Neil. It's just straight reds to the downside. Oh boy. Back-to-back 15-minute candles since about, when is this? It's about 1:15 here on the Nasdaq, and about I guess 12:30ish.
Oh, I bet you that
the
Palantir.
ES. And oh boy, that Palantir, yeah, that Palantir is coming back in as well. So I tried a couple of longs, not really working. The trend is definitely your friend. And look at that. Wow, they just keep slamming into the bid. Holy, is it the end of the hour?
It's
no,
relentless.
It's not even the end of the hour. Oh boy. All
So
right,
remember,
well.
I have to show this chart. Amazon was strong this morning, but my exit point, at least I got out at the right time. Yay. Look at Amazon. Amazon about to go red. So strong this morning, and it's right back at 217 bucks. I mean, that's just nasty. You gotta, when you zoom it out a little bit here, and I'm just gonna go to the Nasdaq. Like, look at all the work to get us to that point. Just slow grind, hammer down, 22.5, like this area here, 22.55, 22.55. Yeah, that's right. 22.55 on the Nasdaq, and maybe into 22.6 would seem like a spot that we could bounce. I already have where I'm looking for Tesla, and then I'll regroup and look for the next trade. I'm like, again, usually on a Friday when you get this kind of a move, I'm expecting we get some kind of a bounce, but I like the support level to jump out here at the 317.5 on Tesla. Breakdown trade for me is a scalp trade. That's just how I roll. Looks like we're already running into resistance on that spot. So just quick little scalp. But there were so many reversals to be had, Obi.
Yep.
I bet you Nike was probably a good one.
Yeah, I mean,
Like, that's sort of the thing.
the
Like,
Nike reversion was.
you don't reverse every single trade, but there are some that you really want to when you get out of it. So Tesla coming through that 318. Right, so now it's broken 318, and I'm just going to cancel old stop, put in new stop is going to be the approach. I'm like, why sit on the bid? I can just have a very tight stop on the 318 break and accomplish the same thing down here. So if we continue to flush, I can hold. If we break back and hold the 318, then we get my target area anyways, and I'm jumping out of the trade. So that's the plan of action for me on Tesla. Pretty tight stop on the 318 level, and we'll try to let that one fly. Wolf, oh, wait a minute. Someone just asked, what happens if you own Wolf? Does it go to zero and getting removed from your account? Well, for here as a day trade, no, that's not really how it would work because I can't hold it. And it's very likely, like just because you're going bankrupt, when you get delisted, it's not necessarily over. You can go to the OTC where it would potentially still trade for a little bit before it might actually go under. So it's not quite so simple as saying it goes to zero the day that it's deleted. It doesn't really work like that. But yeah, for us, there's really nothing to be done because I'm going to be out of this position regardless at 4 o'clock, no matter how far it falls, which I'm just going to double check. This shouldn't matter that the market's going down. It's just like it's just going down anyways. And what'll really matter is that after 3 o'clock, maybe 3:30, when we get the early look imbalances, whether or not it's an actual imbalance on this to the sell side. All right, so there's the pushback through 318. Oh, look where we bounced. 317.5. When in doubt, zoom out. Scalp trade, that's it. That was the plan of action. We scalped it to the first dollar, and then I got a bad fill in the entry. That's my bad. I probably I don't know. I thought I had, but it doesn't really matter why I didn't get the initial break. I think I should have gotten it, but I didn't get that initial fill. We still were able to get the fill underneath 320, but now you're getting the bounce. That was your bounce. I wasn't thinking of going long there. It was just a cover, in my opinion, but it looks like you got the bounce where you wanted it. There's probably a long out there that you could find that's pretty good, but I'm not trying to fight any of these longs. Or I'm not going to try to jump into the long myself. I want to get like really sniper type entries. It's a Friday, go station to station. Just try to keep it very, very simple.
Yeah, I think that's something to watch out for there. Wow, my screen is like spazzing out. I don't know if you guys see that or not, but yeah, I did try a little bit of a long once again. Let's see if it'll come in. A little bit of a bid coming in, but you can see again waterfall action going into the last hour of the day here. It's about 2:44, so the last 15-minute candle going into power hour is about to begin here as of right now. So let's see what we have in store going into that. VWAP on the spider, where you at? That's all the way at 614.41. So I don't know if we're going to get all the way back up there just yet with again, aggressive selling coming into these markets. So got to stay a little bit respectful of that. But like I said, if and when that bid comes in, I do want to try to stay involved. So I did kind of try a little bit here on top of those 612s, and then once again here on top of those 611s here. That was an aggressive push. Oh boy, there it goes. So 612s coming back in. So again, first sign of a bid with the opening of this 15-minute candle. Let's see if this 15-minute candle, let's see, what is that price? I'm looking for 612.60s. If this can break 612.60s, then we would have broken that prior bar 15-minute candle. What is that here on the ES? I see that is just above that 6,200 mark as well. So let's see, maybe we just come back into this trend hold right here and then push back in. I have no idea, but I'm watching this spider again with this market moving around as aggressively as it is. I got to stay patient. I got to pack my patience, as our friend Sharif likes to say, and just see, is it still with trend? It could very well be. We still haven't broken prior bar high on the candle. We still haven't broken any sort of a trend line just yet, and it seems like sellers are pretty strong going into the final hours of the day. So again, with all that being said, I'm going to stay nimble and just try to catch what I can here. A little bit of a scalp on the SPY. Working for now. For how long, I have no idea. Let's see if we can get VWAP.
There you go. You get a breakdown short, you get a reversal long, you get a little bit of everything, everybody. That's what we do here at Trader TV Live. But I love this. Where was it? Shoot. It's good 2330. And I don't know why all these ats are in the names. It just, everything was different today in our chat. Our names were all changed. It's kind of annoying, but we'll see if we can't figure out what it is. But trading is like waiting for another human to break a 4-minute mile.
Like what?
Trading is like waiting for another human to break a 4-minute mile.
Oh, you like break a new record or something?
I guess. Well, the only reason I like that is I'm a huge track and field fan, and nobody, unless you follow track and field, you probably don't know who Faith Kipyegon is. But if you know track and field, there are 3 people that are right now every bit as dominant as Usain Bolt was in their respective sport. There's Faith Kipyegon in the distance racing, there's Mondo Duplantis in the pole vault, and there's, I think, the most impressive athlete in the entire world right now is Sydney McLaughlin as a hurdler. And Faith Kipyegon tried to become the first woman to break the 4-minute mile. She had like a team of like pace runners or whatever, ended up running like a 4:06. It would have been ridiculous. He's a robot. Anyways, I'm a big track fan, but that's why I like that. Look, the market is trying to bounce. I know Obi's got it right there. But one of the things about trading opportunities like what we're seeing in the market is you might want to level up your trading game sometimes. And with Prop XP, you can level up to 1 to 200 leverage with a static drawdown. Scroll the site and pick your challenge at propxp.com. Trade directly on the platform. You sign up, try it for free, and start your trading journey. Enjoy rapid payouts and real human support. No bots. It's rated 4.6 stars on Trustpilot, trusted by traders worldwide. Right now, you can get 50% off with the code TraderTV. Link is in the description. QR code's right in front of you. Be the trader, get funded, and join Prop XP. Shout out to them as well. Look, you guys let me know if there's any symbols that I'm not catching out here, because I'm going to be very. It's Friday afternoon. there's a part of me that you could have just shorted the 320 again. I just feel like I would have been guessing at that point. It doesn't really give you like a standard setup there outside of saying, hey, 320 broke, 320 short again. I don't want to be doing that kind of a thing. It's a very good bounce off that 317.50 level. And I find when something bounces off the higher time frame support like that, I usually want to see if it's going to pull some continuation. Because those types of levels, like when you bounce off, you usually get continuation. When you start bouncing here, especially at the end of the day, I would suspect maybe you're going to test a little bit higher. So I'm going to keep it very tight to the vest here on Tesla. I mean, the Nasdaq and the ES both went red, but just barely. If we hold back green again, you could see enough of a relief rally that if you short back into it, you're just going to get yourself into a little bit of trouble. I don't know if I appreciate that. Jonathan, a real Caribbean guy. I was born here. My family is Antiguan. And both my parents were born in the beautiful island of Antigua. But I was born here in Canada. I love it. I do consider it second home because I have a ridiculous amount of family down there. But yeah, and if you've never been, I think it's the best island in the West Indies. 365 beaches, one for every single day of the year, and they're beautiful white sand beaches. You've never seen anything like it. And it's maybe not the most famous island in the West Indies, but trust me, you go there, anybody that goes there absolutely loves it. Just maybe don't do Devil's Bridge, tourists. It's dangerous.
Oh. What is that? Is that like a...
It's just like there's there's one portion of the island has really rough waters.
Okay.
And so there's just a little cove, very violent waters coming in, and there's like a little cutout, and then there's a little bridge that you can cross it that's maybe 20 meters long,
for you
a couple of meters wide.
Yeah.
But underneath is if you fall in when it's actually really, really choppy, unless you're a ridiculous swimmer or like a Superman, you're done.
Yeah, you're
effectively. And also too, the waves can sometimes crest and hit the bridge. So you'll be on the bridge and you get knocked off. Now, granted, I'm an idiot. I've done it a couple of times. But what'll happen, you do it when you know the waves aren't kicking high enough, they knock you off. You got to know what you're looking at. But tourists, there's always tourists that are like, aha, I'm going to get a picture on Devil's Bridge. Wave comes and knocks them off, and then you're pretty much toast.
Yeah.
It happens all the time. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. This market,
came
on
right
a 15 minute, we're just not. We're going to go to Darren in a quick little second, but on a 15-minute, look at these closes. Open, close, open, close. We're not closing, we're not able to open higher than previous. We're not holding above these prior closes. We're wicking them pretty heavily, and we're just not getting any buying out and about the prior close bar. That's where I think you might get the turn. Adara?
Yeah, here's TSLA. I'm seeing some news circulate around X. Apparently, there are reports that Tesla is planning another round of layoffs across the company this month, with apparently one source saying that these potential layoffs are creating a pressure cooker environment that have caused some employees to leave the company. We know we had 2 reports yesterday of higher up Tesla employees leaving, though one report suggested that one of the individuals, Omid Afshar, was actually fired. But either way, TSLA, again, I'm not seeing the source for this. It says TC, maybe TechCrunch, but either way, again, seeing these reports circulate on X that apparently Tesla is maybe planning another round of layoffs, and employees are getting a little bit freaked out. Also, fun fact there with that Antigua story, SGA, basketball champion there, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, his family is also from Antigua, which I learned yesterday. Back to you.
Is this live on the show? Both of his parents were born in Antigua. His mother was a 400-meter runner. She went to the Olympics in the 400 meters. So it's I think his dad was an athlete as well. But yeah, Antigua's doing it large. One of the greatest cricketers of all time, Vivian Richards, also from Antigua. We got a super chat here. Neil, what is your opinion of buying WFF at lows for end-of-day pop-up or Monday pre-market play? Okay, I get. We had this conversation literally yesterday with that stock that went from $9 to 50 cents, and so I understand the sentiment here. What's different about that is that it was a one shot. The first time you were buying the dip, the first time it made that kind of a move. This time you want to buy this dip after it's pop, rug, pop, rug, and then goes lower, and then pop, rug. How about if you think you want to buy the next pop, let it consolidate, and just take a standard breakout trade after. Let it consolidate, take a standard breakout trade. That's what's actually worked, is to let it make a bottom and then just take a later breakout trade on it. Well, I wouldn't bother gambling that it's just going to bounce because you got lucky 3 days later here. You got fortunate the day after there. No, like both those times you could have just taken the breakout with less risk and do that at some point next week, and then you've got some momentum going with you. That would be my approach to it. I don't see a reason to catch this falling knife. You didn't need to do that the last 2 times. Back to Adara.
Yeah, I just want to mention as well here, a little bit of a pop, as you can see at lows in the market. Nike, I know, moved a little bit as well on this. We do have commentary coming out here from the Business Council of Canada. They're saying that Canada's Prime Minister Mark Carney should drop its digital tax. Now, in case you missed it, that digital services tax is the reason that Donald Trump stated that the U.S. and Canada are going to be cutting talks on trade or terminating talks on trade. Also, Trump said that within 7 days, they're going to, I guess, announce what the tariffs will be for Canada. It's worth noting, I looked into this. Apparently, the current leader of the Business Council of Canada is apparently focused on bolstering the Canada-U.S. relationship. Of course, they're also focused on economic growth. So they're described as a lobby group as well. So there's a little bit of bias there. But either way, it looks like even groups within Canada are urging that this digital tax be dropped. We're going to have to wait and see if any commentary comes there. But that could potentially be a change in tide for the market. Just wanted to let you guys know about that commentary, and back to you.
Yeah, thank you, Adara. Well, I suppose I should have reshorted Tesla at 320. I'm certainly not going to do it at the low of the day. I'm going to try to snipe it. We're heading into power hour, everybody, and it's like, what a turn. The taco trade ain't here today. It's just not happening. What is it? I don't even remember what the acronym is for that one, but essentially it's like
Trump always chickens out.
Oh, Trump. That's what it is?
That's what it stands for. Yeah, Trump always chickens out.
Okay.
That's what.
Right, there you go. Whatever. I just didn't remember. Who cares? The whole point is the whole buy the dip on the bad news. Well, it hasn't worked unless you're really, really particular about where you want to pick this one up. Or I'm just looking at Tesla because that's what we were trading. But if there's something else out there that's piquing anybody's interest, like I thought maybe, my first thought is if it's tariff stuff, like look for the bounce in places that shouldn't care, like the AI play, maybe like something like a BBAI or like a Palantir would make some sense. Like BBAI, if it got to 550, but it didn't get to 550, you could try to jump back into that for a pop back into the volume weighted average price. But if I look for a long, I almost rather it be somewhere that has a little bit of insulation from all the trade talk. If I can even find something like that. My head went to BBAI, but I'm not even sure that that's the right place to go. I look over at PLTR. It's trying to bounce. I mean, look, Palantir gets back to 136. That's where I know we like it. So that would be a different story. I know Palantir, I'm going to have that one up because I do like the 136 for sure. Jacques is asking about silver. Oh yeah, silver's breaking out. We don't really trade silver.
No, not really.
And most of the times, if we're talking about metals or whatever, we're just going to talk about gold because that's what everyone's interested in. But silver is still very much in its consolidation break. I could pull up a longer dated chart. I don't need to, but I could. But it's still consolidating over its 32 break, even in this dip. So it's still very good. There's no day trade here, and it's not really at the support or anything like that. But it's still doing pretty well, I think, holding out the top end of this move. And it's just trying to play some catch up to the gold trade, which is what usually happens. You can read up on why people say it's a manipulated market where price gets held down, yada, 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 and it should do better than it does. No, silver.
Okay, yeah.
So it gets really tricky, but when it gets going, it can be good. It is on the cusp of if you look at a monthly chart, it's on the cusp of a really good breakout, a continuation play on silver. But there's not much to the day trade here.
I think I remember it was a little bit before I joined the floor. There was a silver trade. I think it went through like 24 or something earlier on. I remember maybe being part of that, but that was a few years ago. Yeah, coming into I think 2022, 23 maybe. I don't remember specifically, but I think there was a silver trade somewhere around there when it broke. For some reason, I'm remembering 24 as the price there. But yeah, no, this I think something's definitely going on here with the market and as well with my screen. It's like flashing weird. I know Sean sometimes I've heard him complain about it.
It's a static.
It's like something's going on. You just saw that, right? There's like weird flashes that are happening. You see that right there? So I'm trying. Fabian's saying I'm too electric. Yeah, maybe that might be the reason.
Weird,
but this market getting electrified to the downside as of right now. Continuation. Oh boy, where and when will we bounce? I have no idea. But again, maybe I'm putting my chips down maybe a little too early here on this potential move. But again, like I said, where is the next trade? I'm not really seeing anything too crazy as of right now. I think some of the trades earlier might have been nicer. Again, I think Neil pointed out the short here on Nike was definitely probably a lot better as it did extend up. And this morning I was talking to Neil about how what my potential plan for Nike was. I did like the long. I like the long a lot. But my issue sometimes becomes if I feel like I missed the trade, I'll automatically flip the script and be like, all right, well, the long is gone. If I didn't have it at the pre-market push or some of these, oh boy.
Hour.
So there you go. Here's the beginning of the hour of power. But here we go.
What did you do?
No. I'm sorry, guys. Too shocking. This is so electrifying. Everything's spazzing out right now. So walking EMP, Neil. Apparently that's what I am right now. But no, so that's my biggest issue, man. I'm just like, okay, how do I get over this? How do I say that, okay, I finished, I missed the trade, the long, and I think I talked to Neil about this as well, and he said, I think he gave some good advice. He's just like, okay, well, the long doesn't really necessarily show up again until it finds a little bit of a base here on top of VWAP where you can get a nice little reload for a continuation. And I think a big part of what I'm trying to get better at is not to go a little bit off what's the word I'm saying? You know, off the
cuff?
Off the cuff, maybe. Like, go crazy. Don't go crazy, right? I mean, like, sometimes I go a little crazy and I'm like, all right, well, I missed the long off of 60, what was the pre-market high? That 69.70, maybe 70s, even 71s, and I'm like, all right, well, I'm done. Now I have to take the short, and I get caught up a little bit on that and maybe get a little lucky, too, as it does give me the reversion to VWAP. But again, there are days where this can continue going, and I might, it could very well blow up in my face as well. So that's something I do have to get a little bit better with. But yeah, the only plan I really had, I see that you were.
It cuts both ways, Obi, because
the only plan I had was Nike long. That's what I'm trying to say.
No, well, I mean, the whole thing is if you're overly aggressive, then you end up in too many trades sometimes. And if you have that conservative wait for it to perfectly set up, the consequence of that is you will miss some trades, 100%. Case in point, BBAI. I literally just missed BBAI entry, because I was being pretty patient with it. I just cancel now. I was waiting for it. To break. See the consolidation down here? I was waiting for it to break out above. And it's a $5 stock. It's moving like a few cents at a time. So I think pennies matter in this case. VWAP is 12 cents away. So there's a big difference between getting it at 68 or 69 and buying it at 73. For most people, you're like, who cares about that? But like when you're day trading, that actually does matter. And over the course of time, it's a big difference. Like you're talking 20, 30% of your move. You got to get the price you want. But I was a little too, I don't know, I just wasn't quick enough to like it. If I had just bought in initially on the break the first time, instead of waiting for it to get me in during the consolidation, I would have been fine. But that's the other side of the coin. You can spot the idea, and an aggressive trader could maybe get in early and then it goes lower. But the other side of it is an aggressive trader would have got this one on BBI. So there's nothing perfect. There's nothing perfect about which type of trader you are. It's just a matter of being consistent with it as long as it works for you at the end of the day. And I do agree with what Stubby Jefferson, I'm not going to read the numbers at the ends of everybody's names because whatever, it's just a new thing happening here for nonsense. I do agree with what you said. There's going to be a lot of opportunities on Monday. Now, I'm off next week going camping, but when we have this type of reaction, we're up every single day. We have a strong week. I shouldn't say every single day. We have a very strong week. Pretty sure we were up every day this week. Trend. Healthy sell-off. I think that's a really good sign. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. It gives you some room to rally. There's some breathing out there for the market, which is always positive. The other thing, you get a ton of information when we have flushes like this about what's holding where, like that Tesla 320, Tesla holding out just under 320. can give you some info. I think where NVIDIA is going to be able to base out here is giving us some information. It's holding the 155 zone on NVIDIA, and a lot of longs on NVIDIA today. Holding the 155 very well, so holding the prior close. This doesn't go red. I think you like that. On the flip side of it, it's not all good. SMCI lost some big support. So SMCI, I was only long off the 48.5, so we kind of were okay there. But watch out here on the daily for SMCI. As long as it holds 46 bucks, maybe even 45, this is still in the breakout. Like I wouldn't, just because you have a fail of the 50 level, shake out some weak hands, and as long as you hold this 45, 46, you could be in a new consolidation level for the run higher. So give it some time. Sometimes you get a nice bullish run for a couple of days, and you just have to reset to the next support level. And I think that's what SMCI is doing. I'm still bullish on the stock. If I was here next week, my first thought would be long on Monday. It doesn't mean I'd go long, but my first thought would still be long, even with a 4% down day. I like the structure of what's happening here. Consolidation break, consolidation break. So let's go consolidation. And when you buy the longs on the bottom, which was 40 before, you were golden. You let it settle down, you just bought the 40s, and you were golden, scalping it, and you could hold into the break. So I think that's what you're going to be able to do. And we're getting some wipeout here, which is showing us the way, I think, to some opportunities for next week.
Yeah, I think again, a lot of opportunities definitely setting up coming into the fresh week. Again, we hit all-time highs this week on a few names, to say the least. And yeah, the Spider, the Nasdaq as well, catching a bit of a sell-off back through some of those all-time high levels as of right now here on the SPY. Again, I think I talked about that level being, it was a 612 or 613s and some change. Let me just check to be specific. On the intraday, it was 613.23, and yeah, oh boy. So I did kind of piece off of a little bit there. Again, attempting to catch a little bit of a bounce. I was like, all right, this is starting to get a little extended here into some of these areas that I do like, some prior day levels as well. Let's see if the Spider can catch a little bit of a bounce back into the close. First potential green candle,
nice.
But we'll see. Still 8 minutes left for this 15-minute candle to print. We've seen how many times, Neil, that it'll be the first green 15-minute candle or first kind of sign of a bid, and then the sellers kind of step right back in and take us lower. But yeah, we'll see. We'll wait. We'll be patient. I just want to kind of reiterate that, yeah, a lot of these aggressive sells in this market have been kind of bought back up.
Well, that's spicy.
But what's spicy? Oh,
it's only 3 o'clock.
Okay,
but
that's a little bit of spice.
We already got some spice. This is Russell rebalancing today, everybody.
Oh yeah,
so,
I gotta check that. Yeah.
So these numbers might be a little bit intense on some small mid-cap names. 13 million on CHPT to sell. NU 8.9 million. It's 3 o'clock. These are huge. BBAI 4. No wonder it's. You know what? Gotta make sure I get BBAI up here. 4.5 million on BBAI to buy early look. QBTS 4.3 million to buy on the early look. You got 8 at V 3.8. What else is here that you guys can? Oklo 3 million to the buy side. Wolf's actually a buy. Do I just punch out of this? Punch out of some of it. Well, 2.8. I'm expecting this one to end up a sell, so I just punched out of half. Archer 2.5 million to the buy side. KSS 2.4 sell. So there's going to be a lot of these. The numbers could grow. They could get smaller as we get a little bit closer. 330. Well, I'll keep updating if anything's crazy on those imbalances. What's weird is, in Wolf, it's 2.5 million to buy. I just punched some at the 40 level just to get out of it, but I think we're fine. I expect if it actually does come out to sell, I'm just going to try to get more shares anyways, but that'll be closer to 350. All right, Sammy is asking about Circle, which we haven't looked at in a hot minute. Circle, yuckity yuck, yuck. I don't know if Dara's got to still be short.
Yes, I am.
Because it hasn't broken anything back to the upside. Where's your trail, Adara?
It's like, oh, sorry, I didn't even need to press it there. It's like around 180s-ish, 180.
Like this level here, yeah.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Hold on a second.
Don't tell him your stop.
What?
I'm joking.
Oh, come on. No one's running our stops. It's around the level. No one's running our stops. That
You
doesn't.
just start see it bidding back.
I mean,
up.
we tell you guys what our stops are all the time. Like, I don't care. Like, the only thing we'll say is like around this price. Like, usually won't tell you to the penny what it is, but you really could. It doesn't make a difference. Like, I don't think anyone's out here trying to run a Dara stop on what has been the best short in the
All
history
day?
of shorts.
Yeah.
Look at this thing. Circle, 17% down. Probably wants this 150 to 160 area. It just seems all roads are.
Do you have the chart
Still
up?
headed.
Can we see the chart there?
Well, I don't know if we can. I don't know.
No,
if we
like
can show
of
a
the
Dara's chart.
the trade. I want to see the trade itself.
Yeah, can we do that?
Yeah. Down.
Let's see it. Oh, maybe can we?
Oh,
There it is.
oh boy, yeah, twice.
Boom.
Oh yeah.
Earlier as well, even
I
before
was in
that.
early. Yeah, we'll talk. That's the earlier one. This
Oh,
one.
that's even better.
That was the first one.
First consolidation,
Second
she gets
one?
short, and then the breakdown of the second
Two entries both times.
Boom.
So where's my?
Let's go.
Shoot. Where's my? There it is. A little slower.
Top trader in the making, guys.
Let's go with.
Thank you.
What do we want here?
What do we got? I have. Let's go. Hey yo.
Just picture if it's a Dara. Just make it, it's not me. It's a Dara. We don't have any Dara keys. I don't have one that's a Dara. We should have a Dara.
We got a. Yeah, you even got. Dude, you got me as well. I only fill in. You got the oh boy.
I don't have oh boy on mine. I've got.
Yeah, you do. No, you don't. It's somewhere around here.
You know what I got?
By the power
Yes,
of Grayskull.
that's epic right there. Oh, that reminds me. It was approved. I have the power.
Nice.
Let's go.
Whether the market's
Look at
moving to
Nike
the
go.
upside
Oh my
or the downside, tradertv.live is always on trend. Make sure to hit the like and subscribe
that
to
kinda
join
works.
us every single day the markets are open.
That works. It's not what I was getting at, but it works. That's fine too. Look, OB,
Yes, sir.
didn't you say 7150 on Nike?
I said 71.50 on Nike.
You did say 7150 on Nike. But right before we came on air, Obi said the long is to 7150 on Nike. I took it VWAP to the even dollar, and this bottom is $71.50, 52 cents.
Yeah. Give or take a
right
penny,
back.
you know.
Well, give or take a cent too,
Yeah, yeah.
no question.
boy.
That's looking good. Now the SPY's back into green. Where's your long is chilling.
I mean, I got out a lot of it on going into 612s, but oh boy, is this going right now. So let's see. First time the bar is closing a little bit higher than that prior bar high with only about 3 minutes left for the close. I'm being patient again, but I took off majority of that position going into 612. So again, a little bit of a miss on my part, but holding on to a little bit of the rest just to see if it'll kind of come in. And again, this is what I've been doing to kind of get better at holding some of the positions that are working for me. Being like, all right, well, there's a certain percentage, whether it's 15, 20, 30% of whatever you're holding, just hold on to that piece and let the trade kind of really give you an aggressive or a strong reason to cover, to buy or sell, to close the position is what I mean. And I've been trying to get a little bit better with that, but SPY working out as of right now. Let's see what Adara is up to.
Here is the Nasdaq. I just want to mention we have some more comments coming from Prime Minister Mark Carney of Canada with regards to Trump announcing that the U.S. is going to terminate its trade negotiations with Canada because of its digital services tax. This came out a couple of minutes ago, but I just want to mention them here so you guys are aware. He's saying that they're in, quote, complex talks with the United States on tariffs, on the tariff rows. That's actually a British term, interestingly. He said they're going to proceed in the best interest of the nation and that he has not spoken with Trump yet today. Again, we also have the Business Council of Canada urging Mark Carney to drop the digital tax, saying that doing so would be in the best interest of the Canadian economy because these UF tariffs and retaliation could be harmful for Canada. So just a quick update in terms of what's happening there with regards to news headlines. Back to you.
Here we go. Thank you, Adara. I'm just double checking. Did something, BBAI is still an early look buy. It just curled a little bit here. So if this stays 4.5 million shares to the buy side. Now, granted, BBAI has done 240 million shares on the day. So 4.5 million imbalance into 240 isn't gigantic. All that said, you're trading BBAI. Today you are anyways, trying to get 10, 20, 30 cent moves. Like that's what you're looking for. So I don't mind that it's a smallish imbalance. But if this pulls back in and gets a reload off the lows and it's still a buy imbalance, I'm keen to probably take this one to the long side. But that has everything to do with the fact that it's just a buy imbalance. You know, I want to see that grow. Ideally, that would be even better. But that's going to be the plan of action for myself. I just want to check out ChargePoint because anytime a penny stock is a gigantic sell, my first thought is it also going bankrupt and should I be trading it? Well, I'm not sure, but generally speaking, if there's a gigantic sell imbalance on a penny stock, I always ask myself, even though it's really cheap to offset it, who wants to buy this thing? And if there's nobody that wants to buy it, sometimes it's an easy short opportunity if it does try to go up. So and the imbalance is the actual size of volume of the day. Like it's 12 million with 12 paired. It's done 12 million shares. That's pretty significant. So I'm going to throw that one up on a side chart as well. So anything you guys want me to look at, let me know. I don't necessarily see anything which is jumping off the page for me. Not feeling like Tesla. You had to reload the Tesla short at 320 the first time. This is distinctly different the second. Look at it trend up, distinctly different the second time through. I don't want any part of that to the south side. And I favor short in Tesla right now. HIMS, Amazon. I think we already looked at Amazon. HIMS is a strong stock today. I think you wake up on Monday.
It's a strong stock on Monday.
I don't know. I'm not completely
To the downside.
Yeah, I'm not completely sold on HIMS until it regains 52.
Yes.
I think you're looking for like the retake of the long might be somewhere in the mid 40s because you could lose the 50 period here. You're closing under 50. It's strong today. It couldn't break out that prior low. I think I have some concerns about HIMS. At least it tried to fill in most of the gap. Still okay, but I don't wonder if the long isn't going to be better here than chasing on HIMS next week. Again, I won't be here, which that kind of is what it is. What, the Amazon? Wow, Amazon. Amazon's on one right now. See that move?
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's stronger than the market.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, the bid had to come in somewhere, and Amazon, and I guess Nvidia and Alphabet as well. Alphabet's kind of strong as well with that bid coming in.
This is crazy.
It's crazy. I mean, so crazy. My tape is going crazy right now. You can see the tape. I can't even read what's going on here, but that's the tape right now, Neil. I don't know. Have you ever seen tape like this? I've never seen tape like this, because that's what that's looking like to me right now. You know?
That's
a little.
Huh?
Little law, exactly. My point exactly. It's like, you know, I mean, that tape is pretty crazy right there. I'm looking at the SPY tape. It looks no different. Looks no different than 2 seconds ago.
Meanwhile, Amazon is literally
Here's the thing. I sold in and around that 612s. We went up to 612 50s. That little bit of a news, I was like, all right, well, do I really want to stay in here? I didn't. But all right, Pug Life. HIMS is, I guess, yeah, no, HIMS is definitely one that is in play, but the market bid is quite strong, Pug Life. If you look there, you'll see all the strength that you need. 6,200 on the ES as of right now, testing as a little bit of resistance. Nike got a bid right there, but flushing back into 72s, which happens to be a little bit of VWAP as well. So it did try a little bit of action in and around VWAP, but again, didn't really quite get too far off of that. So that's not really what I was looking for there on Nike, but that 71.5 was quite nice. Took it all the way to 72.5s. But again, with the way this stock has been moving around on the day, I don't know if that's really something I'm trying to take off as a piece. To say the least, but yeah, here we go. A little bit of break of that bid coming in with the start of the next 15-minute candle, guys. Only about 12 minutes left on this one, and let's see if we can continue the bid that finally apparently came in, or do sellers step right back in? I have no idea, but I'm looking across the board here. Some of that strength that did come in, for example, on Amazon, as Neil pointed out. Guess where Amazon got to on that strength? It got right up into a special area that we like to call VWAP. So right here, not even there just yet, but that aggressive bid taking us into a place where Amazon has seen maybe nothing but supply kind of in and around that VWAP area. Let's see if more of that can come in today, but catching a little bit of a bid. Interestingly enough, off of prior day's end of day consolidation low, which was, I guess, a little bit of a level as it holds that morning range high I guess not necessarily opening range high, but this bid kind of stepping off in and around 11. So that's still morning session for me. So morning session high, midday session breakout going into the end of the day. They're holding that same level as support in and around that 216, 216.75 is the current day low here on Amazon. And yeah, a little bit of a bid coming in alongside the rest of the market here on Amazon back into VWAP. Let's see if VWAP can show us a little bit more of the same. Casero saying, glad it bounced because it was around 30 pennies away from my stop losses. And Pug Life saying NVIDIA is where you get the good stuff. All right, let me go take a look at NVIDIA here. Yeah, no, the reversion was absolutely beautiful on NVIDIA as well. Again, right off the bat, I'm like, oh boy, where was I when this short came in and around, what time is it? Around 11:45. All right, so pulling back all the way down to its lows here, but catching a little bit of a bid. Reversion to VWAP is what we're seeing on a lot of these names across the board. Let's see.
Everybody.
Yeah, not everybody, but a lot of names, again, that did seem to catch a bid. We're getting a bit of a push. I'm looking at Alphabet and Amazon as some of the strongest ones, NVIDIA as well.
Those are the ones, because right now Apple doesn't seem to want to do it.
Not the ones that didn't get
that could be a little bit different for sure. Oh, I just realized I forgot we had the poll up there. Here, Coinbase. I'll look at Coinbase too, but I forgot we had this poll. What's your biggest trading weakness? FOMOing into pumps, only 20%. Holding losers for too long, 42%. I'll tell you right now, over all my years of trading, this by far is the downfall of more than 42% of traders. Selling winners too early, 28%. I'll tell you this, the other thing I can tell you, that tends not to be too big of an issue for traders. It's something that you can work on, but at least it means that you have winners in a general sense. That's a much bigger problem. Revenge trading after a loss, only 10%. Oh, come on, that's number 2.
Yeah.
Like, that's number 1.
I mean, I was just talking about that being one of my biggest
problems. Yeah. For most people, those are the 2 problems. But everyone's a little bit different, I would say, for sure. Whoops, Ostentation. I just happened to see this from Ostentation's Productions. Why is OST restricted? Is it? Is it? Wait, hold on a second. Nope. Nope. I don't know. I can trade it. I can throw orders. It's not really moving, but I can throw orders on it. So again, maybe talk to your broker. Like sometimes there are symbols here at Real Trading that will even be restricted for like liquidity reasons, if the stock doesn't do enough liquidity. This is done 115 million shares. Why you wouldn't be, I get it, it's down 44%, and not everybody's allowed to trade penny stocks, but if you're usually allowed to trade penny stocks and it's doing 115 million, then you need to ask your broker why you can't trade it. That's all I can say. Maybe you don't have free shorts on it, but we don't have free shorts either. I'd have to pay for shorts if I wanted to go short this. I had to pay to go short on Wolf. Like, they weren't free either. They were obscenely cheap at Real Trading, like 0.00 whatever nonsense of a cent for 100 shares or whatever it would be that you want to pay for per 100 shares. So they were super cheap for us, but there are always symbols that you got to pay for locates. Talk to your broker. That's crazy. Doesn't make any sense. And CompuCare team, I think we said this in the morning. The reason all of our names are different in the chat is because when we came in today, everybody's name on this channel has the @ symbol on it, and then your what is it? Your YouTube, I guess, page had a different name. Like, I was Neil Roberts, like 2150 or some nonsense. So YouTube did something, so we all had to change it back. Thank you, Ramin, for posting. Was it Ramin?
I think so.
Ramin probably posted that in the YouTube did a thing. Yeah. That's why everybody has these annoying ats there. I don't know why. I think it's silly, but that's just what we're dealing with here. We were not hacked, though, I don't think. It's not to my knowledge. Were we?
No, I don't
think so.
I think we said maybe because of the hack, but people were saying that, people were saying that other channels, they haven't experienced that name change, but I don't know. My YouTube channel itself, my account got the name change, which was weird. SPY coming back in here. So we're kind of just chopping in this range, this 30, 40 penny range on top of 612. So probably going to be done with this one. If we do catch a bid going into the last half hour, then I don't know if this is the place I want to be looking. Again, it seems like I want to be looking at some of the stocks that did show an aggressive bid, and 3 of those, again, we just mentioned, being Amazon, Alphabet, and NVIDIA going into the close. And yeah, some of these imbalances coming in pretty early here, Neil, but nothing too crazy just yet. I'm going to be watching.
Point's even bigger.
Yeah, they're getting bigger. So
like
I'm just like,
15
oh
million.
boy, what's going on? Like, it's not really moving around on it, other than the fact that the imbalance itself is just. So SPY may be coming into 312 halves. Let's see what it does here. I'm looking for the next trade. I'm reading the chat. What are you guys talking about? What are you guys trading? I see Tolai saying, that's not CrowdStrike. That is CrowdStrike, CRWD. So let's quickly go to CRWD here and see what that one is up to. RWD. There you go. All right, so a little bit of a double bottom. Oh, okay, hello. A little bit of a bounce here. That's interesting. So a little bit of more of the same. Yesterday, we got a bit of a bid here at that 495 area, coming in off of the open. Guess what? Buddy's probably still in and around there. A little bit of a push, kind of coming in with an aggressive bid. And then once again, going into the end of the day, this 495, 496 area seems like it is, it seems like there might be a little bit of buying here for now. That's what it's shown us again yesterday, this morning, and as of right now as well. Is that going to continue into the close? I have no idea. But this market tailwind is definitely bringing us a little bit to the upside here. Don't know how much of an effect that may or may not have on CrowdStrike. Let's see. WFF saying pitch bull 29.26 to 437. Yeah, man, that thing absolutely got crushed to the downside. Yeah, 29.22 was the high. So back through open, back through some of these prior levels, finally able to break down this level
insane.
As of right now. Again, sometimes you have so much pressure built up that you need to kind of release that pressure so that you can bring it back in. So again, another interesting part of price action. Oh boy, there goes the spider. I definitely sold a little too early. That's okay. But we're getting that continuation here as of right now, continuing back up above some of those prior levels, and we are getting a bid for the second 15-minute candle now going into the close. 2 more left, with it being at 326. Neil. So, how are those imbalances doing?
So 2 things happen. One, charge point's now 15 million to buy from being 12. BBAI grew from 4.5 to 5.5, which I said if I saw it grew, I was going to go long. So I saw it go from 4.5 to 5.5, and I bought the little bounce that it made. That said, it's 326. There's still 23 minutes until we get the imbalances. So if it breaks underneath 74, I'm just going to get out if it loses the bid and then look for another trade. If you're making a trade based on the imbalance, then know that it's really that 350 in the last 10 minutes of the day where you really want to get the big jump. If it runs early, great. But at the same time, like, I don't want to be, it's a buy imbalance, I'll buy here and I'll hold it to the low of the day. Now, really, really tight stop because it's a gimmicky type trade for sure. So there's a couple of other people in the chat, like Jaguar, they've been mentioning Circle. No bid on Circle. But now Jaguar is saying close your short positions on Circle as it's making a new low of day. What? The market just bounced from 22.6 to, like, we got 80 points there. The Nasdaq went back green. Circle made a new low. I'm curious, why do you think cover the shorts on Circle when the market bouncing did not give this any kind of a bounce?
I think it's done
at all. Like, I don't see, like, where is it even going? At 150 to 160, why not? And that's theoretical support. Like, the real actual buy support ended up being down here at $100. Like, that's actual tested support. In theory, 150 held for a couple days. Yeah. So we'll see it. But again, it's just to each their own, but it's literally making fresh lows as we speak.
Yeah.
Nobody seems to want to buy this.
I think another place to watch out for is that opening anchor as well. I know I'm watching that, and interestingly enough, I saw that Brian Shannon posted on Twitter earlier today about the anchored VWAP off of the open on Circle. So that was coming in. I think it already kind of pushed into it. I think did it or did it not? I don't remember getting my alert, but I'm pretty sure just looking at the chart, it's definitely kind of well within that area as of right now. So a bit of a pullback coming in here on the SPY. So look at that candle, 15-minute candle with 1 minute left, goes green to red. Oh boy, that's what I was talking about. Some of that SpongeBob, you know, kind of back and forth, kind of lost in the sauce. That's what the tape is kind of looking like sometimes, and I'm just like, all right, well, you know what? Take my scalps and move on, and just move on to the next trade is what I mean. And where is the next trade? I have no idea, but with only about 30 minutes left, Neil, we kind of talk about today being the end of the month, maybe some options expiry, and also maybe some rebalancing as well at the end of the month. So we shall see what. Daniel's asking, is that an upside down mustache? What are you talking about?
A what?
Upside down mustache? I don't know, it looks the right
That's
side
pretty.
up.
That's very random. Oh, here's a good question. Neil, give us your top 3 biggest long holdings. Okay, so I'm going to cheat. My biggest holdings are all indexes. So you obviously want individual stocks. Yours are Lilly, UNH, SFM, and AMD. I have one in common with you, and that would be Eli Lilly. It's my largest non-tech holding. My largest holding is NVIDIA. Surprising everybody? It shouldn't be that surprising. No, my largest individual stock holding is NVIDIA, followed by Meta. It used to be Apple. Apple and Google used to be that, but Meta's now taken charge. I own a bunch of Caterpillar as well. That's my second largest non-tech holding. Number 4, I have to give it a. Does Bitcoin count?
Yes, of course.
Okay, then Bitcoin. I guess if Bitcoin counts, then I have to say Bitcoin.
They said assets or stocks?
And they did say stocks. Oh, am I right? Shoot, where'd it go? Roll up. Where'd it go? Biggest, it just says biggest long holding. It says holding. No, but then, like if I'm saying
you can hold a lot of
Bitcoin,
things. You can hold real estate. You can hold stocks. You can hold crypto.
But I own a bunch of dividend. Like I have a really big Canadian dividend fund that I have a bunch of from a while back. So like that, if you want to count that, I own a boatload of the SPY and the Qs as well. Yeah. But I'm assuming you want like individual things. But I guess Bitcoin does count, so I'll say Bitcoin for you, because it technically is very correct. Like say NVIDIA, Bitcoin, Eli Lilly, Caterpillar. If you're giving 4, those would be the 4 that I would say. But I own a bunch of other stuff, but those are the big 4.
There are a couple of Canadian names that are doing really well.
I own a lot of Enbridge. Enbridge is in my top.
I've had Bombardier for the longest. That's obviously been doing a little bit better here.
Bombardier, yeah.
Bombardier in Canada. I think I got in a few years ago. In and around the time, BBD.B.
What's the wrong one?
Yeah,
the problem is in the drop down.
B class.
It comes.
There you go. Yeah, so they've I guess $115. I guess they've gone through a split.
Oh yeah.
But oh boy, yeah. Take a look at the weekly on that one there. So this is again Bombardier is very strong Canadian company. Yeah, you can see what.
But there would have been a split. That's the problem.
Yeah, there was a split.
I can't view it on this chart. There would have been a.
I think it was a 5 to 1.
Yeah, that's.
But it doesn't. Even if it's adjusted, it's been doing pretty decently. On
ignore that chart because that's not adjusted.
So yeah, I think another stock. I've talked about Apple as well. Hold a little bit of Apple. Of course, like I said, the only thing I like about Apple is their stock. I don't necessarily own any sort of Apple products, even though members of my family definitely do, and they attest to it, which is fine. You know, it's cool as long as the stock is doing well. As long as it's catching the bid, you know. As long as it's still in the interest of majority of people, I think I like it there. And let's see, we got another super chat here from Time saying, do you think ARK selling coin is affecting Circle? That is extremely above my pay grade, and I have no idea how to answer that question. Do I think that when funds sell stocks, do they affect the stock itself? Maybe, I have no idea either. But maybe, well, you got to see when the news comes out. Does the stock react? Then you can be like, maybe it's because of this. At the end of the day, does it really matter? If you're trading bigger picture, sure. If you're trading price action on a shorter time frame, probably not. So again, let's try to get.
I think
from when I'm talking to myself, I'm like, let's try to get better at one game at a time. I'm just like, all right, the short term, the scalps, and I guess the level to levels intraday are maybe something I'm a little bit more focused on right now.
How much did she sell? I'm just gonna.
I have no idea.
Kathy's ARK.
Joe Ventura saying, is Shirley an Android user? Yeah, I guess. But again, I'm not really biased towards Android. Maybe I am. But I'm not really too biased, other than the fact that I think that it's just more, maybe I am biased.
I love Android.
Yeah,
my entire family uses Apple, and I've owned Apple shares for a long time. And it used to be my second biggest holding, and it's not anymore. But I love Apple. Well, I grew up in the 80s using the old Apple computer. When I went to university, it was the first time I actually used a PC, a non-Apple computer.
Oh, okay.
Was well, I mean, as my primary was when I went to university, and no one was using Apple. But at the same time, I just never got into their phone products or really liked them. Most of that's because I was like the diehard BlackBerry guy, and then when I got off BlackBerry, I fell in love with Android. So that's where I'm at. But let's go to Adara now.
The thing with the Cathie Wood Circle shares is less that she sold and more the extent to which she sold. So obviously I'm seeing different values on it. Either way, it looks like she sold over $250 million worth. The first sale was on Friday, I believe, Friday night. The last one on Monday evening. But yeah, the second sale worth about $110 million. The first sale, I believe, valued at around $135 million. Again, these values are always estimated based on the closing prices, but either way, at least one of those sales was like 600,000 plus shares. So quite a few shares. I think, again, with Cathie Wood, it's not just that she sold, it's the immense amount that she was selling over a 2-day period. But to my knowledge, she hasn't sold anything since Monday, as far as I can see anyway. Back to you.
There you go. And Amazon continues to absolutely rally. I was gonna say something about, look at the chart of Apple. Well, I'll get back to that at some point.
Oh, wow. Look at that.
You've got to be
just talked
kidding
about
me.
this.
That is...
Wait, that's not an intraday, is it?
This is a 3-minute chart.
Oh, that's Amazon.
It's Amazon.
I thought you said Apple.
Oh no, I had a monthly up of
Okay,
I had a
there's no
monthly
way
chart
that's
up of
Apple.
on eSignal of Apple, but
Okay.
it really is program buying. I thought, okay, well, whatever. Market's not doing that much. It'll get to VWAP, and the question is that do you want to short it? Nah, probably not, but it didn't seem like it was that kind of a long. You're not going to see an imbalance on Amazon because the Nasdaq stock, it's all New York till 350. In 15 minutes, we'll be able to get a better look at it. But this is insane. Basically, program buying. Where was this earlier? Amazon, when I was long it in the morning. That's always how it goes, apparently, for sure. Say it. You're absolutely right about this. We'll get to take care of some business. You can tell yourself so many times it is okay to be wrong. It's not okay to stay wrong. I think it's dead on. But the other thing you can do, everybody, is check out and try eSignal. Why? Because trading is hard enough if you don't have the best platform out there to take advantage of your trades. And eSignal is still 1 month free. First month free for all of our Trader TV viewers. So you can scan the QR code and get it. It's very customizable. Obviously, you can look at every time frame and throw every single indicator out there. You can entitlements to what the markets you want, not entitle the ones that you don't need. It's very user-friendly, so you can have the system, set up the system you want, back test it, and then go ahead, maybe even trade through multiple brokers. If you want to execute your trades live through eSignal, most brokers are there for you to be able to do that. API access if you want to automate your trades so you can sit back, relax, not have to hit keys, even though I like doing that. Not everybody does. As I said, first month is free. Scan the QR code you see out in front of you. Take it, give it a shot. You won't be sorry for it. We've been using it here on this floor for a very, very long time. And I was looking at this Apple monthly chart as I was talking about how I've been trimming long-term in Apple and liking other things better. The monthly chart on Apple, look at how gorgeous this is. The one touch of the 50 period on the monthly and then holding, obviously the month is ending on Monday, so it looks like this candle is going to be a nice close above the 200 level, at least for now it does, but we have to get through Monday. But no, that's a pretty big reversal that we're trying to pull off here on Apple. It would seem like 180 would be the big support there for Apple in the long term. It just feels a little bit, I don't know. I just don't feel this. I don't have the same feels with Apple anymore. As I said, like this year, the Mag 7 names I dip bought were Meta and NVIDIA. More of a swing in Tesla, but it was Meta and NVIDIA that I just like better, and that's why they're now my top two for sure. But Amazon is on a different plane. I've owned Amazon for a while, and it's up there for me. Maybe I could have added this to buying the dips as I was with Meta and NVIDIA, but you got to pick which ones you like in the moment, right? You can't buy everything. But this is still program buying up here. This is crazy. Absolutely crazy. And, oh no. What up, Chet? Chet GPT. I don't know why, but I can't tag anyone. So it's the new names.
Yes.
So if you're just putting in @Neil, like you were before, it's not, we're @Neil Roberts. It's not working. It's like we had all the new names today, and like we couldn't use the ones we had before. So it's like @Neil TTV. Was trying to point out NVIDIA over the trend line that I mentioned near VWAP. Keep up the good work. Shoot, was I looking in the wrong place? Because I put up Tesla and BBAI, and then I'm looking at those imbalanced names like Wolf, which I'm in, and then ChargePoint. So maybe I did miss. Maybe I did miss NVIDIA. Load. This is I got Friday afternoon charts, everybody. Well, I'm just saying, I do.
They're already off for the weekend.
They are off for the weekend. But where was it? Oh yeah. What am I? Oh my
There
goodness.
you go.
You're right. No, you're dead on. You're dead right. You're right about that. Yeah. There's your break of trend. There's your hold of trend, and there's it coming.
You drew that earlier?
Yeah, this one.
Oh, damn.
But it's not the steep one.
Yeah.
This was before we had the flush into the low. I was like, well, if you can break that trend line, because that's like the day, it's kind of like from the high.
Yeah.
And then
That's like the delayed
here.
confirmation.
Yeah, the delayed confirmation. But that's too late now. 340, I'm not chasing it. Hey, I'm glad you noticed that, but I had moved on, right? Like for me, let's be real. I have 4 charts up here, and I have 4 level 2s at any given time. That's it. I was staring down Tesla, BBAI, Wolf, and then I added this silly charge point because of the big sell imbalance, and I can't even get short the stock. Like a charge point, 13.5 million to sell. Like, well, I'll just get in and try to sit here and give it a tight stop to be in the trade, but I can't get into this. I should probably just cancel and wait 10 minutes till the imbalances come out. But yeah, great look, and I hope you got that on that NVIDIA trade. But I was looking at other things, as you saw.
Yeah, so I think Andre just mentioned we got another super chat here, so we can take a look at that one here as well with, who's this? I can bring this window in right there. So RCT, so Ebb Flow Portfolio, thank you for the super chat there. RCT, 307 entry at 12:40 p.m. Where would you enter? Thank you. Well, I don't know what stock this is, but let's take a quick look.
This is the
I can tell you where I would have entered on SPY, and I could have held as it continues to push even higher. 613.20s now. So, oh boy, we are getting a strong reversion here on the markets. Let me just take a quick look at this stock that you're talking about here.
I have it up if you want.
Yeah, RCT, right?
RCT, it's on the Nasdaq.
Why?
But look at the entry.
Boom. Yeah.
Like this is your entry here. That's
it says.
perfect. Like you basically on volume, it's breaking out. So there's your morning range break. So you don't, you want confirmation after the morning. There's nothing wrong with that. Wait for confirmation after the morning range break because you can have this one too. 280 looks really good as an entry as well, but that's just fine because it's waiting for the confirmation on volume increasing. But it breaks trend, and you're 25% in the money. So it's on the back end of the trade at 340 on a Friday. Where would I enter it? I wouldn't. I don't think I've ever wanted back end of something like this because it's breaking out here. Let me go to a 15-minute. That's a little bit better. It's breaking out here after doing absolutely nothing, and it's giving you a complete retracement. It's just like that WFF stock. If I'm going to buy back into something like this and play the other end of the move and look for a bit of a bounce, then I'm going to let it make a low and then just take, if I was going to buy it again, I'd let it do something like this did on this day 2 play here, where it broke out second day in the morning, or it bottomed out here, held the low, and then broke out here a couple of days later. Like these are momentum stocks. You play it to the momentum. You did a great job playing it to momentum in the morning. You take your profit and wait for the momentum to come back in. I wouldn't want to buy it over the weekend when it could rug pull on you. They drop an offering or some nonsense, and then you get punked. I think they're momentum plays that you play into the momentum on. So hopefully that does help. That was a great entry earlier, no question about it. There was a 50% move. You could have trailed it out. It didn't break trend until, when it broke trend, you were still 25, 30% in the money. So that's a great entry you had, but I wouldn't be buying it down there.
Yeah, I think that's pretty solid. Like you're playing the push of the breakout. Like it's already broken out here, and you said what at 12:40ish, around 307. So I mean, I like that. Again, but the question is, where is your stop? That's where my first question would be. Like, are you risking to this consolidation low? Are you risking to here? Are you risking to this consolidation low? Or are you risking to day low or even pre-market low? Right? It's like what's your real risk there, and what are you necessarily looking for in order to kind of close the position? Again, that would be my question. Where would I enter? I have no idea. I don't necessarily trade anything like this. But say you were to take the price off, the name, and everything else off of the chart, and if I just saw this chart and I'm just like, all right, well, where would I enter? Can we do a potential replay here real quick? So let's see if we can. Okay, I guess not. Not with this one here. So. Anyways, if this is the limited information I'm seeing on the chart's building, okay, we finally take a breakout. So yeah, I like that. Maybe in and around, if you're really like the long and you're looking for that break, and say that it's not even on your radar when all of this is happening. So it seems like the volume started coming in around 11:20, right? So this is the first volume bar that really is significant. Sure, you're doing crazy amounts of relative volume in the pre-market because you're not, this thing normally doesn't do any sort of volume. You see the relative volume on this one? 300,000 times the relative volume. So it's like, it just goes to show it basically does nothing most days. And today, yeah, maybe you was on your radar if you had an RVol scanner in the pre-market. And maybe then, if you have that as part of your system, maybe you're not even taking this break. Maybe you're accumulating on these dips on top of 2 and the hold of VWAP as you see volume come in, as you see volume fall off, but price hold a little bit higher as well. So maybe if you're already looking at it from the pre-market, I also kind of like this in terms of a price action perspective. But again, I wasn't there. We can talk about how we can have perfect entries in retrospect. But I think those two places might be decent places to look if you were looking a little bit earlier. But again, I do like the short on these things more often than not. And it seems like the short is coming in pretty nicely. But again, day one shorts, I don't know if I'm really going to try to participate in those anymore.
No, I hear you on that one. But what an unbelievable bounce that was in the market. Hey, man, if you were looking short this afternoon, the best you could have done is take your profit and run. Because if you were like myself, initially looking short, there was Tesla, and when everything came back, like, forget about it. Google now green again as it busted VWAP. In 3 minutes, we're going to get the imbalances. This is wild. So keep in mind, when we have tanks like that, and sometimes buy programs can be buybacks. It could be a company like, just turn the program on because they're doing buybacks, and they can buy at any time, but they can't buy back in the last 10 minutes. So I'd be careful with the big cap names chasing this rally into the last 10 minutes when there's no buybacks allowed in the last 10 minutes. So you lose that little bit of extra juice that sometimes can bring these Mag 7 type names to the upside. I'd be a little bit careful when it comes to that. Tesla here, all the way to VWAP. Wow. Tesla might, look, even if it doesn't go green, that's pretty intense for sure. Yeah, thanks, Vern. And if you're ever wondering, there's nothing special about why it bottomed out at 317.5. The way that I like to trade, especially given what was happening on Tesla and all these flat bottom breaks, like when it did this bottom break, held support. When it broke that the day before, it just, you're getting reversal. So I was anticipating a reversal. I just zoomed out the chart and was like, oh, okay. That's pretty significant for 2 reasons. 1, it bounced exactly off that level on the 20th. 2, that's a Monday, by the way. On the Friday at the open, it broke out that level. So I have a pretty significant price level. That's where I'm going to be getting out. Play that trade. Obviously, if I was that convinced that was the bottom, I'd be long. You know what I mean? Like it's easy to get out. It's not always as easy to reverse the trade. That's when you have if you have really, 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 really big conviction in a level, then you're reversing it. I think we have another super chat in here. Jack in the chat. Bought ELF. Imbalances are in 2 minutes. I'll try to be fast here. On April 2nd, sold June 18th. Where does it go now? For your sake, hopefully higher. We have to put makeup on here for the show, and my brush is an ELF brush. Not that it matters, but just hopefully that helps. So you bought on the 2nd, sold on the 18th. Well, you won. It doesn't really matter where you sold. Great trade. Wow, what? Okay, you bought it in here. You had to suffer through the low, but it broke back out. It's one thing. What I love about I'm a swing the other kind of. I don't like to swing buying the lows. If you let it hold the 50-period moving average and buy this consolidation over it or the breakout, your price is 70 versus buying it. This is probably before earnings. So you get 65 versus 70, but that's 70 on trend versus 65 hoping it's the low. That's just, but anyways, your long is fantastic. It is what it is. Where does it go from here? I don't know fundamentally. I'd be pretty skeptical about this one when you had such a monster level in here at 130. This seems like it's going to have some sideways before we break out again. And I'd be a little bit cautious with these guys. I mean, you got such a great rally. I don't know if I'd be. If you're long and you've been piecing out, then it's certainly a hold now that it's back above the 200-period moving average. Like if I was in this swing trade, I'd be holding the last portion for a push back into 170 to 180. But I'd also be likely trailing it out under here because that's just my style. I think you've got a good one. You have a great entry price, no doubt about it. And I don't know enough about them. You know, Jack, ask Sean. Sean on Monday, he actually looks at ELF and the cosmetic names. I know his wife really uses the product, so he probably has a better opinion on the stock. I've never owned one of them, and I don't know that I would, but it's a good-looking trade. Imbalances in 3 seconds, 2 and 1. Let's see how big these numbers come out as. Open is a penny stock, 31 million to the sell. That's another. These are going to be small cappers, everybody. NU is 20 million, whereas Google is 12 million to buy on Alphabet. That's the big. Somebody knew that was going to be a bid. 12 million on Alphabet. That's by far the largest imbalance we've seen in quite some time. There's nothing else that's that big. GoPro I seen there. Amazon 5 million to the buy side. What else we got? Nothing really. It's those two. It's Alphabet.
Oh my God.
12 million buy side on Alphabet. Look at that candle.
Yeah, I'm watching.
You've got to be kidding me. That is insane. I just saw that Wolf came out of buy, so I'm punching out of that one. The first chance that we get, and I'm now out. Ooh, I don't want to go long. Let's get out flat. So Alphabet, that's the biggie. Unbelievable. 12 million to the buy side. We do have imbalances. But it's Russell rebalancing today, which has nothing to do with Alphabet.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I did not expect to see Alphabet. I was thinking the smaller names would be big, but I didn't expect that here on Alphabet. Unbelievable. So mostly buy imbalances, 2 billion to the buy side for the overall market. Nasdaq 1.5, obviously if Google's that big. The Dow 650, NQ 1.2 billion to the buy side. Maybe not as big as you'd think when Alphabet's that much.
Yeah, that SPY came in real aggressive again with a lot of these constituents. Again, Google's the main one on my watch right now with that crazy bid. But yeah, no, SPY came right back up into VWAP. So did the TQs there, or the Nasdaq, pushing back up into their VWAP. Nvidia with a little bit of a bid as well, but oh boy, is Goggles the strongest one that I can see. 176.83 current high, and that undisturbed price, guys. From that imbalance low, let's just take a look at that here real quick. That was 173.89 here. So let me pull up the book for you guys here as well. NASDAQ, there we go. 176.50 is currently trading, and that imbalance still kind of holding us up here on Goggles. Now about 11 million to buy, and yeah, one of the top names as well. So let's see how it closes here. 176 as I'm watching. The thing is, the bid comes in so hot and aggressive on days like this, right? So you already know that people are sitting there with their
to sell.
algos. Palantir is 7.5 to sell. Oh boy, so that thing's probably getting crushed even more.
The paired volume, by the way, the paired volume on Palantir is 24 million. The total imbalance on Palantir is 31 million shares, and it's done 100 today. It's going to be a monster-sized close for Palantir. That is completely nuts. Evan's CompuCare team, AMD probably has an imbalance, and so does NVIDIA, but none of them, they're just not, they're not moving the needle. They're not in the top. Let's put it that way. So even if they have imbalances, they're nowhere near as big as it's Alphabet, now only 10.5 million. Palantir just grew to 8.5 million to the sell side. That's easily now 9 million to the sell side on Palantir. I think that's easily one of the bigger ones. I mean, the Open's 28 million shares. It's a 50-cent stock. And NU, 20 million on NU, that probably got moked as well. What happened? No, it did not. Hey, watch, this might flip. Yeah. How does, well, it's on 80 million shares. That's a third of the day's volume, and it dropped like 5 pennies. This one might flip. Watch that. I'd be careful with NU. Palantir is the big one for sure. That's crazy. Crazy.
Yeah, I want to see what happens going into the pairing here. We've got about 1 minute and 10 seconds, guys. So yeah, I got both Palantir and Goggle on watch as of right now. Again, that pairing event coming in about 1 minute. Let's see what happens going into there, and if some of those imbalances sustain, do we get the sustained move as well? That's what I'm waiting and watching and asking for. We'll see what Adair is up to.
This part of the show is brought to you by our friends at Trade the Pool. We got a behind-the-scenes look at Trade the Pool. The dashboard tracks your progress in real time, live stats, profit, and more. You can break down every trade, see your entry, exit, and how it played out on the chart. Check the certificates page for your full summary, achievements, and payouts. In this clip, that is Michael T. He's already earned over $75,000 in payouts. The Trade the Pool gives you the tools and the capital to go further. Ready to level up? Visit tradethepool.com or scan the QR code on screen. Also, Trump is starting his press conference now with some leaders from Congo and Rwanda. I'm going to keep an eye on that. We always know there can be a Q&A, which can be market moving. Back to you.
So 355 is hit, and Palantir is still 11 million to sell side. That's why it's still tanking for sure. You're going to see Google did pair off significantly there. It's now 6 million to the buy side from 12, but PLTR
Look at
stayed
Google
a sell.
Go. Holy,
Stayed
Google
a sell, and Google stayed, Alphabet, stayed a buy as it just continues to fly higher here. Both these names going. This is absolutely nuts, everybody. And again, it's Russell, but it's also month end effectively as well. I mean, the month does end on Monday, but still crazy action. Some people are saying show Apple. The party is in the other two, but why not? I don't know. Really, I really don't know what Apple is doing here. Ooh, yeah, like I said, I have some Friday charts going on. I don't know what's going on there. But Apple, that's barely even moving. 50 cents here, 50 cents there. Didn't see that on the imbalanced low carrier. Didn't see any Tesla. It is Palantir, and it is Alphabet. 177 on Google. Palantir hit 131 and still dropping. Now down 9%.
Oh, my God.
9% here on Palantir into a ripping market, all because of the imbalances. Here's one to consider. I'm not going to be here on Monday, but we've seen this story before. Something goes off kilter and gets sold on a big imbalance.
Reversion.
The reversion at times can be pretty spicy, especially Monday morning if it opens down here. Just food for thought. Seen it happen before. I won't be able to do anything about it. Ideally, I'll be on a Canadian version of a beach when I'm camping. And I do this because Canada doesn't have real beaches. We have like water with rocks. But it's still fun and it's warm, so we'll be good. But yeah, Palantir absolutely going nuts.
I mean,
but it's true.
Beaches are the same thing. It's like water with much smaller rocks. They're like, sand is just really fine pieces of, I don't know, rock and
There's
glass.
good sand and there's good beaches and there's mediocre beaches.
That's true.
We
don't want no mediocre.
No,
we don't want no mediocre.
No, I'm just saying, like, it's like if you spend any time in nice beaches, then, you know, Canadian beaches aren't exactly what you're. My goodness, Palantir. Palantir, the tape is going absolutely crazy here, everybody. This is nuts. Palantir, what do we got? It's still 8 million to the sell side, 7 million. It's slowly pairing up.
Print 130.
40 million is the paired volume. It's almost up to. You're now almost up to 50 million this print is going to be, 50 million shares, and it's still holding as a sell imbalance here on Palantir. I would suspect it's going to pair. I don't see, where's Google?
Google's even higher. 178 are the highs right now.
Don't even see it anymore.
Yeah, Google's not there. Google's a 3 million buy I have on Google.
Palantir down to 5 million.
So, holy. So yeah, coming into the last couple of minutes
Be careful
here.
if you've taken profit on Palantir, great. It's starting to pair off here.
Yeah, I think this close is definitely going to be something interesting. A lot of players kind of it seems like punching into the bid on that sell
Down to
imbalance
4.
there. Oh boy, yeah. So gotta be wary. That 130 looks like it's almost inevitable here, and that 178 actually broke on Google. So oh boy, I think still holding up there going into the close. Only about a minute 30 seconds left. I didn't really take anything. So shout out to anybody who had either the Palantir short or the goggle long, and that was absolutely beautiful there. But like Neil said, a little bit of a day 2 play potential here coming into next week on both of these names. Funny enough, I was in the SPY long and I didn't even hold. I was like, I'm going to let this run. I'm going to keep it on with a little bit of a runner, and didn't even hold anything on that one there, and that ended up being a little bit of the bottom there, but it is what it is. Sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you don't.
It's
and here
still
comes
3 million.
the close. One
Now
minute left.
4.
Yeah.
So it's paired mostly off. It's still 3 million to the sell side on Palantir. We're just kind of trying to track it here. And it's still at the lows, 131. 131 is actually a big support level, I know. A, because I have a line on my chart. B, because I have a line on my chart, which I still left in there for some reason. But no, it's with only 30 seconds to go. I stuck around. I don't know if Obi was going to take something at the close. No, and plus, like, who wouldn't want to see this price action? I wanted to see it from my desk. Palantir is almost all paired off. I don't really even see it anymore. So with 20 seconds to go, we'll just watch the chart live here. Last closing bell of the week. And it is, of course, brought to you by Origenics, OGEN, over there on the NYSE, transforming brain care for sure. So, Adara, let's see where Palantir is going to close in 2 and 1 ringgit.
What do we
And
get?
the answer to that question is
74s.
74.
74s. Okay. All right.
Where do you see the check your profits on Monday morning?
Oh, yeah.
Google as well. I'm going to get to the desk in a quick little second. Alphabet closed near the highs as well. So you could look. I understand that Palantir was a great show, but Alphabet was a buy imbalance that just rallied. So what an unbelievable. It's crazy because it was a Russell rebalance. I was expecting small caps to go nuts, and it ended up being 2 bigger cap names out there that gave you the most juice. So you never know where the action is going to be.
What?
Amazon
Look
as well.
at how Amazon closed.
Okay, I'm gonna get up to the desk, get set up for the close show. Make sure you show them that Amazon trade.
I'll show
you
them
guys
that right
in a minute or two.
I'm just looking at some of the closes here, guys. So thank you again for joining us, and hopefully you guys had a solid day, a solid week as well. And let's see what's going on with Amazon here. So yeah, aggressive bid on Amazon. We didn't quite see the imbalance on this one here as strong as Google or Palantir, but definitely the action itself was pretty strong. So the reversion, some of those reversions we were talking about, coming in so beautifully into the close there. Look at that, nice confirmation coming in with that 50 or 350 candle for an aggressive push, 3 points to the upside within 10 minutes. In the last 10 minutes there on Amazon. So yeah, very, very strong coming into next week. I'm definitely going to be watching some of these names here. Amazon showed us that strength this week, and oh boy, what a close to this week as well. Let me kind of take some of these off. We'll go to the weekly chart and take a look at this one here. So not quite at its all-time highs, but guess what? Making a straight beeline there as of right now. Very strong close on the week on this one as well. Let's take a quick look at Palantir as well. Palantir and Google, we'll check those two out before I pass it on to Neil and Adara for the market recap. So don't go anywhere, guys. But Palantir, oh boy, that 130, currently trading 131.30s as of right now. I thought that 130 print was almost inevitable. I think we got to a low of 130 halves, maybe 130.31s on the dip back into or after 4 p.m. there. So yeah, going back up to the weekly here, Palantir still within range, very, very strong on the higher time frame, still well within range to push some fresh highs, but getting some aggressive selling with that rebalancing coming into the end of the week as well. And of course, not going to leave you guys without a look at goggles here. 178.53s is the current is that the current price? I think so. Is the closing price there? 177.78's current price trading in the post market. But you can see pretty strong to say the least. Nice little chop and grind to the upside. Back above 170s finally. Couldn't quite get above that 181 kind of most recent high just yet, but pushing its way along there and maybe catching a little bit of strength off some imbalances as well. So yeah, without any further ado, see you, Ramin. Have a good weekend. I'm going to pass it off to Neil and Adara with the market recap. Don't go anywhere, guys. I'll see you guys next week. Take it easy.
Yes, you will, and thank you so much, Obi, because you'll be filling in for me next week. Wow, what was unbelievable! You've got to be kidding me, Palantir. If you were not watching the last 10 minutes of the show, then you'd be saying what happened to Palantir. 7.5 million sell imbalance at the close, which only grew at one point, and absolutely tanking the stock. Ended up down 9%. It was kind of trending down, but at the end of the day, this is why the imbalances do matter. That heavy of a sell imbalance is going to be able to do this to a stock. And on the other side of the coin, not Coinbase, Alphabet, with an out of nowhere big buy imbalance, goes absolutely flying. Now, it didn't move as much as Palantir, no, but the volume was fantastic. It was the two biggest imbalances on a notional value were these two. Absolutely nuts. So there is no news, everybody.
Nope.
There was no news on Palantir. There was no news on Google. I know you're used to seeing a chart like this, and you're like, oh, this must be 4 o'clock, and it was aftermarket news. No, these were the buy imbalances. You're not going to see this anywhere else live. You watch that, go back, and you can watch the last 10 minutes, and you would have seen us showing you live the massive sell imbalance that Palantir had. That's what caused this candle. There was no announcement. There's no earnings. Just a massive market on sell that caused this move to the downside, and it ends up closing near the lows. Now, as I did say before I came up to the desk, I've seen this before, where if you have massive, sort of massive window dressing, whatever you want to call it, huge sell imbalances or buy imbalances, there can be reversions come the next trading session. Oftentimes it's a dangerous gamble, but it is one that I have seen work before, and I won't be touching it. Certainly a lot of times people like to make that trade if it's still down in the same range it was before. They might take a shot in the pre-market or off of the open. You guys will see on Friday for sure. So yeah, Palantir did get smoked a little bit at the end of the day there, no questions asked. That sell imbalance was the primary cause, as this is exactly at 350 when the sell imbalances came out here. So wild action. What's crazy is we started the day off with the chips looking at, it's like NVIDIA going higher kind of day, Adara. And what was selling off like what sold off all day long like Palantir did at the end was Circle. You had Circle selling off.
Yeah, we did.
Nike strength, NVIDIA strength, Circle sell off, and an incredible close.
Yeah, that was really fun. I mean, I can talk about Circle a little bit here for sure. Also, Donald Trump just started his press conference, so that's happening right now. It's not really a conference; it's more kind of this meeting with leaders from Congo and Rwanda. He's sitting at his desk. He's got his whole team around him. They're all standing, and he is sitting. So yeah, I can just show the Circle chart. So that 226 level. This is just a 3-minute to kind of give some context. But basically, the longer chart here was we had struggles with 226. We would reject 226, we'd drop from 226, et cetera, et cetera. So today we get like 226 pre-market. Open, we get 224 shorts. I'm like, oh, darn, I missed the short, whatever, right? Then we get this little push up here into the 9 EMA. I'll zoom in a little bit here so you guys can see. And we break below this low. So I said, okay, I'll get involved here at the low of the candle break, and I risk to this top there, which is like 206 halves, I think. So that works. Take a little bit of profit too early around that $200 level. This is where OP attempted the long and Circle, and I think that $200 level made so much sense as a long. It also stalled there. That's why I took some profit as well. And then I added a little bit when I was like, okay, that 200 is going to break. It ends up quadunking. I end up getting my last piece out. I get stopped out 191s. So then I realized, oh my gosh, we're still really consolidating. Like, look at this flat bottom. This is a 3-minute chart. This is crazy. So I look at the 30-minute, because the thing with Circles, you have to risk a decent amount if you're going to get into this. And this 30-minute, I'm like, wow, this prior bar is what, not even $2? This is the opportunity to slam in. So I get in, I add when we break the low of day here, and then, it slams. This first profit taker, I will fully concede was early, but that's because that's where the AVWAP was from the IPO in the 30-minute, so I thought that was fair. Then I take everything else at around those 178. So happy with this trade. This was definitely the short of the day. Coinbase was another really good short opportunity too.
Similar play, but not the same move.
But it's still like the second strongest stock this week. So COIN didn't give that much back.
No, Coinbase's move was not I mean, look, it was a short this morning on coin. I'm not going to argue with you on that, but it was nothing like what Circle did on a percentage basis. And at least with coin, like at least with Coinbase, look at the daily chart of coin as opposed to Circle. This pullback in coin is effectively just back into the prior high.
Yeah.
Right? Like Circle is doing something very distinctly different. I think that obviously goes without saying. I don't know where I'm not going to tell you exactly where the bottom's going to be. I think we're all sort of looking at the 150 area right and around here for Circle to maybe catch some kind of a bid. Like who's valuing this? This is the problem. Like it's great momentum on the way up, but as it starts to fall, people start to say, well, what the heck is this thing even worth? And I don't think anybody has a solid answer. So until you get to a big technical level, why would you be interested in buying this, the stock? That's just my opinion on Circle, but we felt this way for a little bit. It's not the easiest thing to time the top, but if you wait till it makes a distinct one and puts the reversal on, it's a great trade and a good look that this is what you were looking at there. Circle is on the back end. So until it shows you a bid, got to be hands off. I mean, you can certainly find places. Hims was a pretty good example yesterday and today, where something looks like it's in free fall mode and it catches a very nice bid for you, but you've just got to be patient. I thought Hims might have been headed down to the 30s, but if you gave it the old 3-day rule, I should have a 15-minute chart up here instead of a 3. Let it hold the low, hold the low, hold the low, and then go. This wick bottom, there's your low at 40 and change, holds a higher low, retest, doesn't break, retest with a bottoming tail candle at the open, and then goes. And then you're anywhere that you're buying for the relief swing long, it's all good. And then the breakout today. I think that's the kind of pattern you got to wait for on Circle. Let it show you a bottom first, and then worry about it. Everyone's always trying to catch those. We had a viewer with an awesome trade in ELF, right? And they had a great trade in ELF, huge winner, great on the daily chart. But the thing that I wasn't like nitpicking or anything like that. Let me go to the ELF chart. It was a fantastic long, but my simple point was like the long in here, like you could have the same long after it's confirmed it's breaking the 50 period. There's your bottom, there's your higher low. It's basically the same long, but it's with the upward momentum instead of catching the fall knife. Same trade, but if you kind of erase this side of it, which one has the better risk profile? I always think it's this long as opposed to that long. But that's just me, and I think that's what you're looking for here. Like let it make the bottom that you can work off of instead of guessing. Hey, if you guess right and you're just that good, more power to you. I'm not that good. Like I can't just be like, oh, it's going to bounce here. Well, you're right. It was a great to buy it in the 60s. But I wouldn't have bought it in the 60s till it looks a heck of a lot better. That's just me. But Alphabet, man, I'm telling you, there's another side to this coin. Pun not intended. Especially with the Palantir sell. There was a buy imbalance on Alphabet that drove it to do this at the end of the day. And I'm telling you, like Amazon had a big move as well. But Google, like it looked like Alphabet was breaking down and breaking trend just a couple of days ago. And it's like, the lagging Mag 7 name can't get going. And then all of a sudden, it just holds the trend line, holds the 50 period, breaks the 200, and then by program with the imbalance, shooting it back up to almost retest the 180 level. So complete insane action that makes Google go from like a week ago looking like it's back to being the bear like Apple is, to on the cusp of breaking out and maybe joining Amazon as the next Mag 7s to go challenge the highs. Like it's crazy. That's the kind of action we saw today in this week. So it's a good week for Alphabet. And I'll be the first person. I rotated a bunch out of my Google to put it into Meta. I'm happy with it, but maybe I could have sold something else. I'm kind of thinking to myself, I could have sold more Apple or something. It would have been a better trade, for sure.
Well, it's so funny. So I was just thinking about Palantir, because you mentioned Palantir there. I was doing an infographic that I'm working on. I'll probably publish it. If I can't finish it during the market recap, I'll publish it on Monday. But either way, because this week was so historic in terms of these all-time highs, what were the strongest and weakest names, like top 10 in the S&P 500? Palantir, when I did my initial scope for this, just to collect logos, 30 minutes before the close, was not on there. Palantir, one of the weakest names on the week, and I think it's mostly that push. But I had actually also written this down for my notes for trade ideas for next week. This weekly chart kind of gave you a sign, because look at that 136 low. That was a low last week. It was set up to be the low this week as well, 136. So I was like, oh my gosh, if we break that low on Monday, going to be a slam dunk.
Yeah.
The market thought a little bit faster than I did and was like, oh, well, Adara, too bad. We're going to break this low now. So the weekly chart really did tell this. And I was saying the last 2 days, if you came in and shorted this, like when it made new all-time highs, it worked. Today, once again, didn't give you that opportunity, but I still think there are opportunities on this name, as you mentioned. I think that 136 is going to be key in my humble opinion, but really, who knows, right? I think the daily chart as well, there's some clear support resistance around that level, but what I've realized, especially today, is you can't make assumptions for how far things are going to move, how much things going to move, where it's going to move, and you can't get frustrated. You just have to give it what it gives you. For example, Tesla. I was kind of a little restless with Tesla today. Nothing crazy, right? Because risking appropriately, that's always what matters. But with TSLA, I was short for that because we kept making lower highs, lower lows in the 1 hour. It wicks you out, then the news comes out and it tanks, and it's like you can't get frustrated. You just have to accept that happened and on to the next one. So yeah, I think with that in mind, no assumptions, just listen to what the market's going to tell you.
Yes, price is never wrong. Listen to what the market wants to tell you. That's what it's all about here. And I know we're going to have our good friend Steve Talman joining us. Are we good?
Yeah, I'm adding joining right now.
Okay, so I think we're going to have him on in just a minute or two for sure as we're getting locked and ready to go. A lot of people are asking, maybe you're trickling in, maybe you didn't see the last 15 minutes of the show where we were noting the big sell imbalance on Palantir came out 7.5 million to sell, ended up as big as 9 million shares to sell on the imbalance locator, then dropped the stock. For Google, there was no news on either one of these names. There was Alphabet also had a big buy imbalance, about 12.5 million shares to buy on Google, caused this rally. So this was it's month end. We're into the month end. Sometimes you're going to see these. It was anticipated. I actually thought there was going to be more small cappers that were showing the bigger moves because it was the Russell rebalancing that was supposed to be the biggest event. But it ended up these two stocks essentially stealing the entirety of the show. There was also a very strong move in Amazon, almost as big, also at a buy and bounce. You can't tell me somebody didn't know that these were going to come out buys. Period. That's just how it is. There was a program buy going into the imbalances, and then they came out as shocking buy imbalances. I guess that's how it works. Shout out to the Roaring Griffin. Thank you for the super chat. Another great week here with everyone. Hope you all have a great weekend. I hope everybody has a great weekend, all of our viewers. But, we still have another 15 minutes to go for sure. And when I say they, you know what I mean when I say they. There's always big money out there that has some kind of a heads up. That's just how they roll. You can't tell me that we're going down on that Trump. It was a President Trump and Carney talks off in Canada. We were headed lower. We rally once, rally back, and then the imbalances all come out massive buys. The program that got turned on, going into the weekend on negative news, buying into 350, somebody knew something for sure. And congratulations to them. They made money, and maybe it's not illegal. But we do have our good friend Steve Talman on. Let's get some trader talk on Friday afternoon. What a wild one it's been. Hey, how's it going? Steve Talman from Trade the Pool. Wow. So I don't know if you happen to be watching the close there, Steve, but little bit of a surprise. I myself was caught a bit off guard because I was looking at some Russell names to trade in the last 10 minutes that didn't materialize. Next thing I know, Palantir and Alphabet are going nuts. Are the imbalances things that do you trade off the imbalances? Do you look at them at the end of the day? Do they factor in for you?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me on here. Yeah, the imbalances I think are super key. It's always interesting to see where money is kind of shifting into going into a new week, right? So yeah, Google is definitely on my radar there, and I'll have to take a look at Palantir, but it sounds like it's having a tough time there, and that's got to be something to note when it's such a high flyer.
Well, that's sort of the thing. If you're doing your preparation for next week, you have to understand this sheer amount of money that got sold off in Palantir and got bought up in Google. Like I was just noting when we were talking about Alphabet earlier, Like earlier this week, Alphabet looked like it was kind of in the Apple camp of being a weak Mag 7 name. And all of a sudden, with that close, my outlook on it going into next week is entirely different. And some of that was Monday to Thursday, but half of it is what happened in the afternoon here today. Somebody was very comfortable buying it up, and sometimes you just listen to big money.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're seeing basically what I'm seeing. There was lag in both Apple and Google. I actually have a pair trade on short Apple, long Google.
Ooh.
And it's been pretty underwhelming so far, but I'm hoping this will be the start of a change because I'm seeing what you're seeing. Somebody's buying Google en masse there.
Well, I'll tell you right now, that's going to look really, okay, I shouldn't say that's going to look really fantastic next week, but based on the reaction that happened, because Alphabet wasn't the only one that ran. Amazon ran as well. So you had a big move up in Amazon and Alphabet, whereas Apple, on the other hand, at the close, did literally nothing. So you seem to have a good one on here just based on that fact alone. It's like panic buying at the close on Friday in a couple of other Mag 7 names, Google included, that you have, and absolutely nobody wanting to buy Apple, which is dead flat. Just if we can take a step back for a second, obviously this looks really fantastic now, but you didn't know there would be a buy and balance on Alphabet. What were your thoughts just getting into that pairs trade? What was the thesis going into it?
Essentially, and sorry here. Looks like the aspect ratio is okay for now. So basically, the thesis was Apple's very hardware dependent, and we're coming into a window here where I think that tariff news is going to start being a lot more relevant. We have the 90-day tariff pause coming up. I'll pull up my SPY chart there, and you can see the red line. That is when we are going to get the tariff pause, and I would expect the market to start pricing in some fear as we get closer into next week. In general, the thesis is Apple is more hardware dependent, Google is more software dependent, and Google's also being held back by some lawsuits, I believe, that will be resolved mid-August or so. So that's only bullish going forward. Going over to the Google chart here, I think it's really key to note that we closed through this big level for me, this previous swing high, and it's just been flagging under it, this 175, 176 handle. So you're right. I had no idea that it was going to surge through a level like that. But man, when I see that, it just confirms the thesis for me a little bit more.
Yeah, there's nothing better than price action confirming an idea. It's just, as a trader, there is literally nothing. There's literally nothing better, especially when you're in like the first inning of it, and you weren't necessarily expecting, as you said, like you weren't expecting this to take a leg up till you got more tariff news, and maybe a little bit later on in the summer, and then all of a sudden, big money says, let's just start it now. So the next question I would ask to that is, look, it's fine, you're in position now, but would you ever see something like that, and because of the timing, you were looking at maybe a little bit further down the line that this would start to work? Would what happened here today, or the way that Google ended up so strongly at the end of the week, would that ever cause you to maybe add to your position? I know you talked with Joe last week, who we had on, and mentioned sometimes adding via an option position if you had a position already in equity. Is this something that you would consider adding to or making larger because of the action we had at the close?
Absolutely, you read my mind. So, I was actually away from my computer for the last half hour of the trading day, so I didn't take an ad there, but I'm definitely keeping an eye out for it next week, especially if we do get a little bit of a dip that I expect. In general, I put this trade on because I wasn't sure the direction of the market overall, and I wanted to have exposure to the upside of mega cap tech and to the downside at that point. So as the market's obviously picking up and Google has been lagging, I think that now is a really great opportunity to add in. So that is what I'm looking to do. And I always trade around positions, so I'll be hopping out of those ads probably into 200 or so if we do get the move that I'm expecting. But absolutely, I definitely think that it's a good place to look for that. And like you said, push the winning strategies. Yeah,
at the end of the day, that's what you have to do. The other thing I wanted to get to is we're out of earnings season. I mean, temporarily. I mean, you leave earnings season, and then all of a sudden the banks start back up again, and you're into earnings season. But we're out of earnings season. We didn't have the Fed. Fed didn't make a move. We're expecting maybe we'll get a cut later in the year. Obviously, we'll see how that goes. We just had negative tariff news with regards to Canada and the United States. We have all this turmoil going on. For next week, what do you see as like the primary driver for us here? Is it going to be price action because the Nasdaq got to the highs, SPYs test the highs as well? Is it going to be the price action trade where it just nothing matters except for the fact that we're rubbing up on some resistance? Is it going to be a wait and see till earnings, or like what do you foresee? I'm feeling, and I'm not going to be here next week, I'm sort of feeling we're going to have some very good volatility based on the way that we closed, and I'm thinking especially in the names like the Circles of the world, Coinbase. I think that's where you're going to want to be. I'm not terribly certain about the overall market making much of a move, but these higher volatility names, I think has to be hyper-focused next week. But what about yourself? I know you do dabble in some small caps.
Absolutely. So first off, I think looking into next week, I mentioned my number one thing that I'm watching for is that reaction to the tariff pause. But on top of that, we got to remember that Monday is the last trading day of the month. So we're going to see window dressing. We're going to see a lot of kind of shenanigans, so to speak. And I think that you're right. There will be some nice volatility coming into the market there. In terms of small caps, I am still just watching IWM for confirmation through that 200. Actually, let me check on that today. Did we get the confirmation? Wait, 200's down here? Okay, it's the 50 that I'm watching here. I knew there was something. So, I mean, it looks good. I'm always hesitant to believe in these small cap rallies, and I rather play individual names. But for me right now, what's most appealing is large cap stuff. I'm seeing Google looking great, Amazon looking great. And one more name, I'm curious, have you been hearing anything about MicroStrategy? Because that's on my radar here.
So I have not. We get a lot of questions about MicroStrategy. And I think there's a lot of anticipation for a name like this going in an index, if it does, I should say. What you have to factor is it's not really moving it doesn't really move one-to-one with Bitcoin anymore. I consider this a squeeze play at this point. Like I only am ever interested in long in MSTR if I put myself in the mind of a short seller. If I was starting to get scared on a short, this is where I'd want to enter into a long. And I'm not sure, like it's kind of looking like that to me, but I think until it show me this breaking out above 400, especially taking out the 425, 430 area, and then I think it's a squeeze type play. I'm a Bitcoin person. That's why I have no interest in owning MicroStrategy myself. I just own a bunch of Bitcoin. Like it's over 5% of my personal portfolio. So I'll never want MicroStrategy as that, but as a trading vehicle, when the shorts get scared, that's where I'd want to be involved. If you were dip buying this thing, I think the time to dip buy it is so far gone that I don't know that that I'd want to chase it. Those are just my thoughts, Steve, but I'm sure you have a better thesis because I don't really trade MicroStrategy.
Absolutely. I mean, I agree with everything you say. First off, I think you're dead on. It's a great squeeze vehicle to catch these big explosive moves when traders get caught off sides. And I also agree it's scary chasing up here. I did take a starter because I'm seeing some really bullish flow, and I'm just seeing this pretty tight flagging action. It's a little loose. I didn't love today's close. I was hoping for a close over 390 there, but I do think that there's potential next week for this one to be a big mover, just based on all of the options activity I'm seeing and the relatively tight consolidation. You could argue that we've got something like let's get a brighter color there. A cup and a handle starting to form out of this parabolic move after forming that nice double bottom here. Inverted head and shoulders, whatever you want to call it. So for me, it's kind of a combination of it's been on my radar as a technical setup. It's a little shaky. It's a little early. Like you said, it hasn't confirmed yet. And I think through that 400 handle, and especially through 425, we can get into squeeze territory. But I just wanted to put it on people's radars because I am seeing a lot of options flow, especially short dated options, a lot of 400 and 420 calls. And to me, that's really compelling. And it might just be because I love trading this name, and I've had good success with it in the past. But I just wanted to put it on your radar there.
Well, that's what you got to do. If you've had success with it, that's the thing. Like I prefaced it at the beginning saying I don't really trade MicroStrategy. That said, hey, we know what their strategy. It's not MicroStrategy. It's strategy now. We know what their strategy is. This is why I don't like to call it strategy, because then things like that are weird. But if you look at what's going on in Bitcoin, that held that higher low support at 100 and has a very similar, it's got a nice little bull flag to maybe break the all-time high. That happens, and this is exactly where you get your squeeze. So even if you just like Bitcoin, it's playing along the same setup, technically speaking. That's what I mean. The reason I love bringing you on here, or we love bringing you on here, is hey, you throw a new name at us. We haven't even talked about MicroStrategy outside of taking a few questions on the regular show, on the trading show intraday, and we get a new name out of you. No, I love this thesis that you got with the pairs trade. It looks really good. I think anytime you put something on and big money is doing something very similar at the same time, that's when you know you have something really good. But are there any final thoughts that you might have before we get into next week? Of course, remember it's also a holiday shortened week, so we're going to get some lighter volumes next week as well.
Yeah, absolutely. First off, I just want to say my ideas for last week did not pan out. I'm sure you saw Hims with that crazy gap down.
Yeah.
So,
yes.
Sometimes you get caught on some bad news there. So, I took my loss and I'm moving on. I was also wrong about SPY pulling back. The Iran news blew over very fast, and I think that the market was very eager to buy those dips. But instead of beating myself up, I'm really trying to use that information projecting forward and saying like we are still in heavy buy the dip mode. You saw we got some bad news today, and there might be volatility coming in next week, but I'm still looking to buy those dips until I really get proven wrong there. So that's the number one thing. And I just wanted to throw one more name at you.
Okay.
It's probably an old favorite, but IonQ I think might be starting to set up. It's getting pretty tight there, so I'm a fan there.
Okay, there we go. IonQ, a last one. And just before we get you out of here, I appreciate you saying that about Hims. And this is the thing, everyone watching, got to own up to the winners and the losers. And when you're trading something like Hims, we love technicals. I trade on technicals. We all do. Sometimes news hits and there's just nothing you can do. It hits your level. Obviously, it was a big news story that can do nothing but take the stock down in that moment because Novo is such a big deal for them. But I appreciate you so much. Good luck with that pairs trade. I think it looks really good going into next week. Apple so weak and Alphabet turning the corner. Absolutely. Steve Talman from Trade the Pool. Have a fantastic weekend. I'll be off, so I'll also say have a happy 4th of July as well. So enjoy next weekend as well, Steve.
Thank you, Neil. Thank you. Have a good one as well.
Take care. And we're back, and it's already past 4:30 because Steve's such a great guest, so we ran a little bit long there. Well, I just acknowledged that we're past 4:30. You didn't have to hit the siren on me there, Fabian, but now you're just going to keep hitting the siren on me. But look, before we get into roll call, everybody, unbelievable week it's been. What a close that was as well. But we've been having a crazy amount of renovations. The other day we had a power outage in here, bringing you guys a quality show every single day. We have big credit to our team here that you don't always see on camera. That's Fabian, that's Ramin, that's Andre, that's our IT team as well, Mark, Rob, Randy doing a fantastic job helping us out with things. And you don't always see these guys in front of the camera, and they do a ton of work to make a fantastic show. Give a big shout out as well in the roll call to, hey, great look, good camera work there by himself. I can wave at myself. Big shout out to the Midday Boys, Sharif, Joey Options, to Obi filling in from my man Sean, killing it today, Obi. He's probably already having a brew, as apparently it's going to be a fun one. Tower time for you guys. Big shout out, of course, as always, to Big Brendo, to Adara, not just the news, killing it on that circle trade as well. So get in that chat. Let's get some roll call. Hit the subscribe, because it's the subs only chat, as I remind you guys. And everyone have a fantastic weekend. Roll call time.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry, a little yawn. It's a Friday. Thank you so much, Neil. Enjoy your vacation next week. You guys are going to see Obi next week. Thank you to Neil, Sean, Obi, Sharif, Joe, Brendan, Fabian, Ramin, Andre. Everybody you see, everybody you don't see, and everybody here in the chat. Thank you to Minor Chat. Thank you to Derek Thompson, Mike DeRider, Kapow, 215 Sugar Free, Christopher Mulligan, Pug Life. We have workouts. We've got Mike DeRider, Cloud C, Daryl Flinch, On the Rail TV, Notorious Dingleberg, Day Trader Cut, Mike DeRider again here, Bush Concepcion, Save Men, Woman, Peace, Bree Bro, Christmas. We've got Neil, TTV here, DJ 2 AM. We have Tia, got Save Man, Woman, Peace again, Day Trader Cut again, James, The Roaring Griffin, Tyler Cox, Aaron M, Jacques, Marcus Stevenson Johnson, Susie Fox, Gabe Esther. We have Marcus Stevenson Johnson again here. Grandmother's Garden. Real Rowboat will end with that because, we're going to row into the rest of the weekend. Also, guys, Donald Trump is talking right now. He is answering questions during this press conference, and that is occurring, so just so you guys are aware. There is one story, too, if I may, Neil, I want to mention before we go. Dropped it in the chat. To be clear, this came out at around 4:09, so it has nothing to do with Google's move into the close unless someone had insider information. But posted or reported by the information about 10 minutes after the close, OpenAI apparently has recently begun renting Google's AI chips to power ChatGPT and their other products, and that would be the first time they've used non-NVIDIA chips in any kind of salient or meaningful way. So with that in mind here, thank you guys so much for being here with us every single day. I'm so happy to be here with this community because it's an awesome one.
There it is. Shout out to you, CompuCare team. You said you'd stick around for the end of the show, so I give you a bit of a shout out as well. We have the best community out here. This trading community gets bigger and better every single day. That's why we always tell you, hit the like, subscribe, share it with all of your trading friends out here because we'll all get better together. But I know Obi's going to kick it and crush it with Sean next week. I will probably not be if I'm connected to a device while I'm camping, that's a problem, so you will not hear from me for 1 week. We are Trader TV Live. Everybody have a fantastic weekend. I won't see you, so I will also say Happy Canada Day and Happy 4th of July to all of our American friends south of the border. Despite what's going on, I still think we're friends. We'll see you next week. At least everyone else will. Have a great one, everybody.
See ya.
I pity the fool that doesn't hit the like and subscribe button.